An introduction to the following treatise. As my life hath been chiefly spent in consulting the honor and welfare of my country for more than 40 years, past not without answerable success, if the world and my friends have not flattered me, so there is no point wherein I have so much labored as that of improving and polishing all parts of conversation between persons of quality, whether they meet by accident or invitation at meals, tea, or visits mornings, noons, or evenings. I have passed perhaps more time than any other man of my age and country in visits and assembles, where the polite persons of both sexes distinguish themselves, and could not without much grief observe how frequently both gentlemen and ladies are at a loss for 4 questions, answers, replies, and rejoinders. However, my concern was much abated when I found that these defects were not occasioned by any want of materials, but because those materials were not in every hand. For instance, one lady can give an answer better than ask a question, one gentleman is happy at a reply, another excels in a rejoinder, one can revive a languishing conversation by a sudden surprising sentence, another is more dexterous in seconding a third, can fill the gap with laughing, or commending what hath been said. Thus fresh hints may be started, and the ball of discourse kept up. But alas, this is too seldom the case even in the most select companies. How often do we see at court, at public visiting days, at great men's levees, and other places of general meeting, that the conversation falls and drops to nothing like a fire without supply of fuel? This is what we ought to lament, and against this dangerous evil, I take upon me to affirm that I have in the following papers provided an infallible remedy. It was in the year 1695, and the 6th of his late Majesty, King William III of ever glorious and immortal memory, who rescued 3 kingdoms from popery and slavery, when being about the age of 36, my judgment mature, of good reputation in the world, and well acquainted with the best families in town, I determined to spend 5 mornings to dine 4 times, pass 3 afternoons, and 6 evenings, every week in the houses of the most polite families, of which I would confine myself to 50, only changing, as the masters or ladies died or left the town, or grew out of vogue, or sunk in their fortunes, which to me was of the highest moment, or because disaffected to the government, which practice I have followed ever since to this very day, except when I happened to be sick, or in the spleen upon cloudy weather, and except when I entertained 4 of each sex at my own lodgings, once a month by way of retaliation. I always kept a large table book in my pocket, and as soon as I left the company, I immediately entered the choicest expressions that passed during 6 the visit, which returning home I transcribed in a fair hand, but somewhat enlarged, and had made the greatest part of my collection in 12 years, but not digested into any method. For this, I found, was a work of infinite labor, and what required the nicest judgment, and consequently could not be brought to any degree of perfection in less than 16 years more. Herein I resolved to exceed the advice of Horace, a Roman poet, which I have read in Mr. Creech's admirable translation, that an author should keep his works 9 years in his closet before he ventured to publish them, and finding that I still received some additional flowers of wit and language, although in a very small number, I determined to defer the publication to pursue my design, and exhaust if possible the whole subject, that I might present a complete system to the world, for I am convinced by long experience that the critics will be as severe as their old envy against me can make them. I foretell, they will object that I have inserted many answers and replies which are neither witty, humorous, polite, or 7 authentic, and have omitted others that would have been highly useful as well as entertaining, but let them come to particulars, and I will boldly engage to confute their malice. For these last 6 or 7 years, I have not been able to add above 9 valuable sentences to enrich my collection, from whence I conclude that what remains will amount only to a trifle. However, if after the publication of this work any lady or gentleman, when they have read it, shall find the least thing of importance omitted, I desire they will please to supply my defects by communicating to me their discoveries, and their letters may be directed to Simon Wagstaff Esq at his lodgings, next door to the Gloucester Head in St. James Street, they paying the postage, in return of which favor I shall make honorable mention of their names in a short preface to the 2nd edition. In the meantime, I cannot but with some pride and much pleasure congratulate with my dear country, which hath outdone all the nations of Europe, in advancing the whole art of conversation, 8 to the greatest height it is capable of reaching, and therefore being entirely convinced that the collection I now offer to the public is full and complete, I may at the same time boldly affirm that the whole genius, humor, politeness, and eloquence of England are summed up in it, nor is the treasure small wherein are to be found at least 1,000 shining questions, answers, repartees, replies, and rejoinders, fitted to adorn every kind of discourse, that an assembly of English ladies and gentlemen met together for their mutual entertainment can possibly want, especially when the several flowers shall be set off and improved by the speakers with every circumstance of preface and circumlocution in proper terms, and attended with praise, laughter, or admiration. There is a natural involuntary distortion of the muscles, which is the anatomical cause of laughter. But there is another cause of laughter which decency requires, and is the undoubted mark of a good taste, as well as of a polite, obliging behavior. Neither is this to be acquired without much observation, long practice, and a sound judgment. 9. I did therefore once intend, for the ease of the learner, to set down in all parts of the following dialogues certain marks, asterisks or notabeens in English markwells after most questions, and every reply or answer, directing exactly the moment when one, two, or all the company are to laugh, but having duly considered that the expedient would too much enlarge the bulk of the volume, and consequently the price, and likewise that something ought to be left for ingenious readers to find out, I have determined to leave that whole affair, although of great importance, to their own discretion. The readers must learn by all means to distinguish between proverbs and those polite speeches, which beautify conversation, for as to the former, I utterly reject them out of all ingenious discourse. I acknowledge, indeed, that there may possibly be found in this treatise a few sayings among so great a number of smart turns of wit and humor, as I have produced, which have a proverbial air. However, I hope it will be considered that even these were not originally proverbs, but the genuine productions of superior wits, to embellish and support conversation, from whence, with great impropriety as well as plagiarism, if you will forgive a hard word, they have most injuriously been transferred into proverbial maxims, and therefore in justice ought to be resumed out of vulgar hands, to adorn the drawing-rooms of princes, both male and female, the levees of great ministers, as well as the toilet and teatable of the ladies. I can faithfully assure the reader that there is not one single witty phrase in this whole collection which hath not received the stamp and approbation of at least 100 years, and how much longer it is hard to determine. He may therefore be secure to find them all genuine, sterling, and authentic. But before this elaborate treatise can become of universal use and ornament to my native country, 2 points that will require time and much application are absolutely necessary. For first, whatever person would aspire to be completely witty, smart, humorous, and polite, must by hard labor be able to retain in his memory every single sentence contained in this work, so as never to be once at a loss in applying the right answers, questions, repartees, and the like immediately, and without study or hesitation. And secondly, after a lady or gentleman hath so well overcome this difficulty as to be never at a loss upon any emergency, the true management of every feature, and almost of every limb, is equally necessary, without which an infinite number of absurdities will inevitably ensue. For instance, there is hardly a polite sentence in the following dialogues which doth not absolutely require some peculiar graceful motion in the eyes or nose or mouth, or forehead or chin, or suitable toss of the head, with certain offices assigned to each hand, and in ladies, the whole exercise of the fan fitted to the energy of every word they deliver, by no means omitting the various turns and cadence of the voice, the twistings and movements, and different postures of the body, the several kinds and gradations of laughter, which the ladies must daily practice by the looking-glass and consult upon them with their waiting-maids. My readers will soon observe what a great compass of real and useful knowledge this science includes, wherein, although nature assisted by a genius may be very instrumental, yet a strong memory and constant application together with example and precept will be highly necessary. For these reasons, I have often wished that certain male and female instructors perfectly versed in this science would set up schools for the instruction of young ladies and gentlemen therein. I remember about 30 years ago there was a Bohemian woman of that species, commonly known by the name of gypsies, who came over hither from France, and generally attended Isaac the dancing master, when he was teaching his art to misses of quality, and while the young ladies were thus employed, the Bohemians, standing at some distance, but full in their sight, acted before them all proper airs and turnings of the head, and motions of the hands and twistings of the body, whereof you may still observe the good effects in several of our elder ladies. After the same manner, it were much to be desired that some expert gentlewomen gone to decay would set up public schools, wherein young girls of quality or great fortunes might first be taught to repeat this following system of conversation, which I have been at so much pains to compile, and then to adapt every feature of their countenances, every turn of their hands, every screwing of their bodies, every exercise of their fans, to the humor of the sentences they hear or deliver in conversation. But, above all, to instruct them in every species and degree of laughing in the proper seasons at their own wit, or that of the company, and if the sons of the nobility and gentry, instead of being sent to common schools, or put into the hands of tutors at home to learn nothing, but words were consigned to able instructors in the same art, I cannot find what use there could be of books, except in the hands of those who are to make learning their trade, which is below the dignity of persons born to titles or estates. It would be another infinite advantage, that by cultivating this science, we should wholly avoid the vexations and impertinence of pedants, who affect to talk in a language not to be understood, and whenever a polite person offers accidentally to use any of their jargon terms, have the presumption to laugh at us for pronouncing those words in a gentler manner, whereas I do here affirm that whenever any fine gentleman or lady condescends to let a hard word pass out of their mouths, every syllable is smoothed and polished in the passage, and it is a true mark of politeness both in writing and reading, to vary the orthography as well as the sound, because we are infinitely better judges of what will please a distinguishing ear than those who call themselves scholars can possibly be, who consequently ought to correct their books and manner of pronouncing, by the authority of our example, from whose lips they proceed with infinitely more beauty and significancy. But in the meantime, until so great, so useful, and so necessary a design can be put in execution, which, considering the good disposition of our country at present, I shall not despair of living to see, let me recommend the following treatise to be carried about as a pocket companion by all gentlemen and ladies when they are going to visit or dine or drink tea, or where they happen to pass the evening without cards, as I have sometimes known it to be the case upon disappointments or accidents unforeseen, desiring they would read their several parts in their chairs or coaches to prepare themselves for every kind of conversation that can possibly happen. Although I have, in justice to my country, allowed the genius of our people to excel that of any other nation upon earth, and have confirmed this truth by an argument, not to be controlled, I mean, by producing so great a number of witty sentences in the ensuing dialogues, all of undoubted authority, as well as of our own production, yet I must confess at the same time that we are wholly indebted for them to our ancestors, at least for as long as my memory reacheth. I do not recollect one new phrase of importance to have been added, which defect in us moderns I take to have been occasioned by the introduction of cant words in the reign of King Charles II, and those have so often varied that hardly one of them of above a year's standing is now intelligible, nor anywhere to be found, excepting a small number strewed here and there in the comedies and other fantastic writings of that age. The Honorable Colonel James Graham, my old friend and companion, did likewise towards the end of the same reign invent a set of words and phrases, which continued almost to the time of his death. But as those terms of art were adapted only to courts and politicians, and extended little further than among his particular acquaintance, of whom I had the honor to be one, they are now almost forgotten. Nor did the late Roman 500 of R and E of E succeed much better, although they proceeded no further than single words, whereof except bite, bamboozle, and one or two more the whole vocabulary is antiquated. The same fate hath already attended those other town wits, who furnish us with a great variety of new terms which are annually changed, and those of the last season sunk in oblivion of these. I was once favored with a complete list, by the Right Honorable the Lord and Lady H, with which I made a considerable figure one summer in the country, but returning up to town in winter, and venturing to produce them again, I was partly hooted, and partly not understood. The only invention of late years, which hath any way contributed towards politeness in discourse, is that of abbreviating or reducing words of many syllables into one, by lopping off the rest. This refinement having begun about the time of the Revolution, I had some share in the honor of promoting it, and I observe to my great satisfaction that it makes daily advancements, and I hope in time will raise our language to the utmost perfection. Although I must confess, to avoid obscurity, I have been very sparing of this ornament in the following dialogues. But as for phrases invented to cultivate conversation, I defy all the clubs of coffeehouses in this town to invent a new one equal in wit, humor, smartness, or politeness to the very worst of my set, which clearly shows either that we are much degenerated, or that the whole stock of materials hath been already employed. I would willingly hope, as I do confidently believe the latter, because having myself for several months racked my invention, if possible to enrich this treasury, with some additions of my own which however should have been printed in a different character, that I might not be charged with imposing upon the public, and having shewn them to some judicious friends, they dealt very sincerely with me, all unanimously agreeing that mine were infinitely below the true old helps to discourse drawn up in my present collection, and confirmed their opinion with reasons by which I was perfectly convinced, as well as ashamed of my great presumption. But I lately met a much stronger argument to confirm me in the same sentiments, for, as the great Bishop Burnet of Salisbury informs us in the preface to his admirable history of his own times, that he intended to employ himself in polishing it every day of his life, and indeed in its kind, it is almost equally polished with this work of mine, so it hath been my constant business for some years past to examine with the utmost strictness whether I could possibly find the smallest lapse in style or propriety through my whole collection, that in emulation with the bishop I might send it abroad as the most finished piece of the age. It happened one day as I was dining in good company of both sexes, and watching, according to my custom for new materials wherewith to fill my pocketbook, I succeeded well enough till after dinner, when the ladies retired to their tea, and left us over a bottle of wine. But I found we were not able to furnish any more materials that were worth the pains of transcribing, for the discourse of the company was all degenerated into smart sayings of their own invention, and not of the true old standard, so that in absolute despair I withdrew and went to attend the ladies at their tea, from whence I did then conclude and still continue to believe either that wine doth not inspire politeness, or that our sex is not able to support it, without the company of women, who never fail to lead us into the right way, and there to keep us. It much increaseth the value of these apophthegms that unto them we owe the continuance of our language for at least 100 years. Neither is this to be wondered at, because, indeed, besides the smartness of the wit and fineness of the raillery, such is the propriety and energy of expression in them, all that they never can be changed, but to disadvantage, except in the circumstance of using abbreviations, which however I do not despair in due time to see introduced, having already met them at some of the choice companies in town. Although this work be calculated for all persons of quality and fortune of both sexes, yet the reader may perceive that my particular view was to the officers of the army, the gentlemen of the inns of courts, and of both the universities, to all courtiers male and female, but principally to the maids of honor, of whom I have been personally acquainted with 22 sets, all excelling in this noble endowment, till for some years past I know not how they came to degenerate into selling of bargains, and free-thinking, not that I am against either of these entertainments at proper seasons, in compliance with company who may want a taste for more exalted discourse, whose memories may be short, who are too young to be perfect in their lessons, or although it be hard to conceive, who have no inclination to read and learn my instructions, and besides there is a strong temptation for court ladies to fall into the two amusements above mentioned, that they may avoid the censure of affecting singularity against the general current and fashion of all about them. But however no man will pretend to affirm that either bargains or blasphemy, which are the principal ornaments of free thinking, are so good a fund of polite discourse, as what is to be met with in my collection, for as to bargains few of them seem to be excellent in their kind, and have not much variety, because they all terminate in one single point, and to multiply them would require more invention than people have to spare. And as to blasphemy or free thinking, I have known some scrupulous persons of both sexes who by a prejudiced education are afraid of sprites. I must, however, except the maids of honor who have been fully convinced by an infamous court chaplain that there is no such place as hell. I cannot indeed controvert the lawfulness of free thinking, because it hath been universally allowed that thought is free. But however, although it may afford a large field of matter, yet in my poor opinion, it seems to contain very little of wit or humor, because it hath not been antient enough among us to furnish established, authentic expressions, I mean such as must receive a sanction from the polite world before their authority can be allowed. Neither was the art of blasphemy or free thinking invented by the court, or by persons of great quality, who properly speaking were patrons rather than inventors of it, but first brought in by the fanatic faction towards the end of their power, and after the Restoration carried to Whitehall by the converted Rumpers with very good reasons, because they knew that Charles II, who from a wrong education occasioned by the troubles of his father, had time enough to observe that fanatic enthusiasm directly led to atheism, which agreed with the dissolute inclinations of his youth, and perhaps these principles were farther cultivated in him by the French Huguenots, who have been often charged with spreading them among us. However, I cannot see where the necessity lies of introducing new and foreign topics for conversation, while we have so plentiful a stock of our own growth. I have likewise for some reasons of equal weight been very sparing in double entendres, because they often put ladies upon affected constraints, and affected ignorance in short they break, or very much, entangle the thread of discourse. Neither am I master of any rules to settle the disconcerted countenances of the females in such a juncture. I can therefore only allow innuendos of this kind to be delivered in whispers, and only to young ladies under 20, who being in honor obliged to blush it, may produce a new subject for discourse. Perhaps the critics may accuse me of a defect in my following system of polite conversation, that there is one great ornament of discourse, whereof I have not produced a single example, which indeed I purposely omitted for some reasons that I shall immediately offer, and if those reasons will not satisfy the male part of my gentle readers, the defect may be supplied in some manner by an appendix to the second edition, which appendix shall be printed by itself and sold for 6d stitched, and with a marble cover that my readers may have no occasion to complain of being defrauded. The defect I mean is my not having inserted into the body of my book all the oaths now most in fashion for embellishing discourse, especially since it could give no offense to the clergy, who are seldom or never admitted to these polite assemblies, and it must be allowed that oaths well chosen are not only very useful expletives to matter but great ornaments of style. What I shall here offer in my own defense upon this important article will I hope be some extenuation of my fault. First, I reasoned with myself that a just collection of oaths repeated as often as the fashion requires must have enlarged this volume at least to double the bulk, whereby it would not only double the charge, but likewise make the volume less commodious for pocket carriage. Secondly, I have been assured by some judicious friends that themselves have known certain ladies to take offense, whether seriously or no, at too great a profusion of cursing and swearing, even when that kind of ornament was not improperly introduced, which I confess did startle me not a little, having never observed the like in the compass of my own several acquaintance, at least for 20 years past. However, I was forced to submit to wiser judgments than my own. Thirdly, as this most useful treatise is calculated for all future times, I considered in this maturity of my age how great a variety of oaths I have heard, since I began to study the world, and to know men and manners, and here I found it to be true what I have read in an antient poet. For nowadays men change their oaths as often as they change their clothes. In short, oaths are the children of fashion. They are in some sense almost annuals, like what I observed before of cant words, and I myself can remember about 40 different sets. The old stock oaths, I am confident, do not mount to above 45 or 50 at most, but the way of mingling and compounding them is almost as various as that of the alphabet. Sir John Perrott was the first man of quality whom I find upon record to have sworn by GSWS. He lived in the reign of Queen Elizabeth, and was supposed to have been a natural son of Henry the Eighth, who might also have probably been his instructor. This oath indeed still continues and is a stock oath to this day, so do several others that have kept their natural simplicity. But infinitely the greater number hath been so frequently changed and dislocated, that if the inventors were now alive they could hardly understand them. Upon these considerations, I began to apprehend that if I should insert all the oaths as are now current, my book would be out of vogue with the first change of fashion, and grow useless as an old dictionary, whereas the case is quite otherways with my collection of polite discourse, which as I before observed hath descended by tradition for at least 100 years, without any change in the phraseology. I therefore determined with myself to leave out the whole system of swearing, because both the male and female oaths are all perfectly well known, and distinguished new ones are easily learnt, and with a moderate share of discretion, may be properly applied on every fit occasion. However, I must here upon this article of swearing most earnestly recommend to my male readers that they would please a little to study variety, for it is the opinion of our most refined swearers that the same oath or curse cannot, consistent with true politeness, be repeated above 9 times in the same company by the same person, and at one sitting. I am far from desiring or expecting that all the polite and ingenious speeches contained in this work should in the general conversation between ladies and gentlemen come in so quick, and so close as I have here delivered them. By no means, on the contrary, they ought to be husbanded better and spread much thinner, nor do I make the least question, but that by a discreet thrifty management, they may serve for the entertainment of a whole year to any person who does not make too long or too frequent visits in the same family. The flowers of wit, fancy, wisdom, humor, and politeness, scattered in this volume, amount to 1070, and 4, allowing then, to every gentleman and lady 30 visiting families, not insisting upon fractions, there will want but little of 100 polite questions, answers, replies, rejoinders, repartees, and remarks to be daily delivered fresh, in every company for 12 solar months. And even this is a higher pitch of delicacy than the world insists on or hath reason to expect, but I am altogether for exalting this science to its utmost perfection. It may be objected that the publication of my book may in a long course of time prostitute this noble art to mean and vulgar people. But I answer that it is not so easy an acquirement as a few ignorant pretenders may imagine. A footman can swear, but he cannot swear like a lord. He can swear as often, but can he swear with equal delicacy, propriety, and judgment? No, certainly, unless he be a lad of superior parts of good memory, a diligent observer, one who hath a skillful ear, some knowledge in music, and an exact taste, which hardly fall to the share of one in 1,000 among that fraternity in as high favor as they now stand with their ladies. Neither hath one footman in 6 so fine a genius as to relish and apply those exalted sentences comprised in this volume, which I offer to the world. It is true, I cannot see that the same ill consequences would follow from the waiting woman, who, if she hath been bred to read romances, may have some small subaltern or second-hand politeness, and if she constantly attends the tea, and be a good listener, may in some years make a tolerable figure, which will serve perhaps to draw in the young chaplain or the old steward. But alas, after all, how can she acquire those hundreds of graces and motions, and airs, the whole military management of the fan, the contortions of every muscular motion in the face, the risings and fallings, the quickness and slowness of the voice with the several turns and cadences, the proper junctures of smiling and frowning, how often and how loud to laugh, when to jibe, and when to flout, with all the other branches of doctrine and discipline above recited. I am therefore not under the least apprehension that this art will be ever in danger of falling into common hands, which requires so much time, study, practice, and genius, before it arrives to perfection, and therefore I must repeat my proposal for erecting public schools, provided with the best and ablest masters and mistresses, at the charge of the nation. I have drawn this work into the form of a dialogue, after the patterns of other famous writers in history, law, politics, and most other arts and sciences, and I hope it will have the same success, for who can contest it, to be of greater consequence to the happiness of these kingdoms than all human knowledge put together. Dialogue is held the best method of inculcating any part of knowledge, and as I am confident that public schools will soon be founded for teaching wit and politeness, after my scheme, to young people of quality and fortune, I have determined next sessions to deliver a petition to the House of Lords for an Act of Parliament to establish my book as the standard grammar in all the principal cities of the kingdom, where this art is to be taught by able masters, who are to be approved and recommended by me, which is no more than lily obtained only for teaching words in a language wholly useless. Neither shall I be so far wanting to myself as not to desire a patent, granted of course, to all useful projectors. I mean, that I may have the sole profit of giving a license to every school to read my grammar for 14 years. The reader cannot but observe what pains I have been at in polishing the style of my book to the greatest exactness, nor have I been less diligent in refining the orthography, by spelling the words in the very same manner that they are pronounced by the chief patterns of politeness at court, at levees, at assembles, at playhouses, at the prime visiting places, by young Templars, and by gentlemen commoners of both universities who have lived at least a 12-month in town, and kept the best company of these spellings. The public will meet with many examples in the following book. For instance, can't, han't, shan't, didn't, couldn't, wouldn't, isn't, ent, with many more, besides several words which scholars pretend are derived from Greek and Latin, but not paired into a polite sound by ladies officers of the army, courtiers, and Templars, such as geometry for geometry verdi, for verdict liard for Lord Larnon, for learning together with some abbreviations. Exquisitely refined as pause for positive mob, for mobile phys, for physiognomy rep, for reputation, plenipo for plenipotentiary incog, for incognito hips or hippo for hypochondriacs, bam for bamboozle and bamboozle for God knows, what whereby much time is saved, and the high road to conversation cut short by many. I have, as it will be apparent, labored very much, and I hope with felicity enough to make every character in the dialogue agreeable with itself, to a degree that whenever any judicious person shall read my book aloud for the entertainment and instruction of a select company, he need not so much as name the particular speakers, because all the persons throughout the several subjects of conversation strictly observe a different manner peculiar to their characters, which are of different kinds. But this I leave entirely to the prudent and impartial reader's discernment. Perhaps the very manner of introducing the several points of wit and humor may not be less entertaining and instructing than the matter itself. In the latter, I can pretend to little merit, because it entirely depends upon memory and the happiness of having kept polite company, but the art of contriving that those speeches should be introduced naturally as the most proper sentiments to be delivered upon so great variety of subjects, I take to be a talent somewhat uncommon, and a labor that few people could hope to succeed in unless they had a genius particularly turned that way, added to a sincere disinterested love of the public. Although every curious question, smart answer, and witty reply be little known to many people, yet there is not one single sentence in the whole collection for which I cannot bring most authentic vouchers, whenever I shall be called, and even for some expressions, which to a few nice ears may perhaps appear somewhat gross, I can produce the stamp of authority from courts, chocolate houses, theaters, assembles, drawing rooms, levees, card meetings, balls, and masquerades from persons of both sexes, and of the highest titles, next to royal. However, to say the truth, I have been very sparing in my quotations of such sentiments that seem to be over free, because when I began my collection, such kind of converse was almost in its infancy, till it was taken into the protection of my honored patronesses at court, by whose countenance and sanction it hath become a choice flower in the nosegay of wit and politeness. Some will perhaps object that, when I bring my company to dinner, I mention too great a variety of dishes, not always consistent with the art of cookery or proper for the season of the year, and part of the first course mingled with the second, besides a failure in politeness, by introducing black pudding to a lord's table, and at a great entertainment. But if I had omitted the black pudding, I desire to know what would have become of that exquisite reason given by Miss Notable for not eating it. The world perhaps might have lost it forever, and I should have been justly answerable for having left it out of my collection. I therefore cannot but hope that such hypercritical readers will please to consider my business was to make so full and complete a body of refined sayings as compact as I could, only taking care to produce them in the most natural and probable manner, in order to allure my readers into the very substance and marrow of this most admirable and necessary art. I am heartily sorry, and was much disappointed to find that so universal and polite an entertainment as cards hath hitherto contributed very little to the enlargement of my work. I have sate by many hundred times with the utmost vigilance, and my table book ready, without being able in 8 hours to gather matter for one single phrase in my book, but this I think may be easily accounted for by the turbulence and justling of passions upon the various and surprising turns, incidents, revolutions, and events of good and evil fortune that arrive in the course of a long evening at play, the mind being wholly taken up, and the consequence of non-attention so fatal. Play is supported upon the two great pillars of deliberation and action. The terms of art are few, prescribed by law and custom, no time allowed for digressions or trials of wit. Quadrille in particular bears some resemblance to a state of nature, which we are told is a state of war. Every woman is against every woman, the unions short, inconstant, and soon broke the league made this minute without knowing the ally, and dissolved in the next. Thus at the game of quadrille, female brains are always employed in stratagem, or their hands in action. Neither can I find that our art hath gained much by the happy revival of masquerading among us, the whole dialogue in those meetings being summed up in one sprightly, I confess, but single question, and as sprightly an answer: do you know me? Yes, I do. And do you know me? Yes, I do. For this reason, I did not think it proper to give my readers the trouble of introducing a masquerade merely for the sake of a single question and a single answer, especially when to perform this in a proper manner I must have brought in 100 persons together of both sexes dressed in fantastic habits for 1 minute, and dismiss them the next. Neither is it reasonable to conceive that our science can be much improved by masquerades, where the wit of both sexes is altogether taken up in continuing singular and humorsome disguises, and their thoughts entirely employed in bringing intrigues and assignations of gallantry to an happy conclusion. The judicious reader will readily discover that I make Miss Notable my heroine, and Mr. Thomas never out my hero. I have labored both their characters with my utmost ability. It is into their mouths that I have put the liveliest questions, answers, repartees, and rejoinders, because my design was to propose them both as patterns for all young bachelors and single ladies to copy after, by which I hope very soon to see polite conversation flourish between both sexes, in a more consummate degree of perfection than these kingdoms have yet ever known. I have drawn some lines of Sir John Linger's character the Derbyshire Knight on purpose, to place it in counterview or contrast with that of the other company, wherein I can assure the reader that I intended not the least reflection upon Derbyshire the place of my nativity, but my intention was only to show the misfortune of those persons who have the disadvantage to be bred out of the circle of politeness, whereof I take the present limits to extend no further than London and 10 miles round, although others are pleased to compute it within the bills of mortality. If you compare the discourses of my gentlemen and ladies with those of Sir John, you will hardly conceive him to have been bred in the same climate, or under the same laws, language, religion, or government. And accordingly, I have introduced him speaking in his own rude dialect for no other reason than to teach my scholars how to avoid it. The curious reader will observe that when conversation appears in danger, to flag which in some places I have artfully contrived, I took care to invent some sudden question or turn of wit, to revive it, such as these, that follow what I think here's a silent meeting, come madam a penny for your thought, with several other of the like sort. I have rejected all provincial or country turns of wit and fancy, because I am acquainted with a very few, but indeed chiefly because I found them so very much inferior to those at court, especially among the gentlemen ushers, the ladies of the bedchamber, and the maids of honor. I must also add the hither end of our noble metropolis. When this happy art of polite conversing shall be thoroughly improved, good company will be no longer pestered with dull, dry, tedious storytellers, nor brangling disputers, for a right scholar of either sex in our science will perpetually interrupt them with some such surprising piece of wit that shall engage all the company in a loud laugh. And if after a pause the grave companion resumes his thread in the following manner, well, but to go on with my story, new interruptions come from the left to the right, till he is forced to give over. I have made some few essays towards selling of bargains, as well for instructing those who delight in that accomplishment, as in compliance with my female friends at court. However, I have transgressed a little in this point, by doing it in a manner somewhat more reserved than as it is now practiced at St. James. At the same time, I can hardly allow this accomplishment to pass properly for a branch of that perfect polite conversation, which makes the constituent subject of my treatise, and for which I have already given my reasons. I have likewise for further caution left a blank in the critical point of each bargain, which the sagacious reader may fill up in his own mind. As to myself, I am proud to own that except some smattering in the French, I am what the pedants and scholars call a man wholly illiterate, that is to say unlearned. But as to my own language, I shall not readily yield to many persons. I have read most of the plays, and all the miscellany poems that have been published for 20 years past. I have read Mr. Thomas Browne's works entire, and had the honor to be his intimate friend, who is universally allowed to be the greatest genius of his age. Upon what foot I stand with the present chief, reigning wits, their verses recommendatory, which they have commended me to prefix, before my book will be more than 1,000 witnesses. I am, and have been likewise particularly acquainted with Mr. Charles Gildon, Mr. Ward, Mr. Dennis, that admirable critic and poet, and several others. Each of these eminent persons, I mean those who are still alive, have done me the honor to read this production 5 times over with the strictest eye of friendly severity, and proposed some, although very few, amendments, which I gratefully accepted, and do here publicly return my acknowledgment for so singular a favor. And here I cannot conceal without ingratitude the great assistance I have received from those 2 illustrious writers, Mr. Ozell and Captain Stevens. These, and some others of distinguished eminence, in whose company I have passed so many agreeable hours, as they have been the great refiners of our language, so it hath been my chief ambition to imitate them. Let the popes, the gays, the arbuthnauts, the youngs, and the rest of that snarling brood burst with envy at the praises we receive from the court and kingdom. But to return from this digression, the reader will find that the following collection of polite expressions will easily incorporate with all subjects of genteel and fashionable life. Those which are proper for morning tea will be equally useful at the same entertainment in the afternoon, even in the same company, only by shifting the several questions, answers, and replies into different hands, and such as are adapted to meals will indifferently serve for dinners or suppers, only distinguishing between daylight and candlelight. By this method, no diligent person of a tolerable memory can ever be at a loss. It hath been my constant opinion that every man who is entrusted by nature with any useful talent of the mind is bound by all the ties of honor, and that justice, which we all owe our country, to propose to himself some one illustrious action to be performed in his life for the public emolument, and I freely confess that so grand, so important an enterprise, as I have undertaken and executed to the best of my power, well deserved a much abler hand, as well as a liberal encouragement from the crown. However, I am bound so far to acquit myself as to declare that I have often and most earnestly entreated several of my above-named friends, universally allowed to be of the first rank in wit and politeness, that they would undertake a work so honorable to themselves and so beneficial to the kingdom, but so great was their modesty that they all thought fit to excuse themselves and impose the task on me, yet in so obliging a manner, and attended with such compliments on my poor qualifications, that I dare not repeat, and at last their entreaties, or rather their commands, added to that inviolable love I bear to the land of my nativity, prevailed upon me to engage in so bold an attempt. I may venture to affirm, without the least violation of modesty, that there is no man now alive who hath by many degrees so just pretensions as myself to the highest encouragement from the crown, the parliament, and the ministry towards bringing this work to its due perfection. I have been assured that several great heroes of antiquity were worshipped as gods upon the merit of having civilized a fierce and barbarous people. It is manifest I could have no other intentions, and I dare appeal to my very enemies if such a treatise as mine had been published some years ago, and with as much success as I am confident this will meet. I mean by turning the thoughts of the whole nobility and gentry to the study and practice of polite conversation, whether such mean stupid writers, as the craftsman and his abettors, could have been able to corrupt the principles of so many 100,000 subjects as to the shame and grief of every Whiggish loyal and true Protestant heart. It is too manifest they have done, for I desire the honest judicious reader to make one remark, that after having exhausted the whole too in sickly payday, if I may so call it, of politeness and refinement, and faithfully digested it in the following dialogues, there cannot be found one expression relating to politics that the ministry is never mentioned, nor the word king above twice or thrice, and then only to the honor of majesty. So very cautious were our wiser ancestors in forming rules for conversation as never to give offense to crowned heads, nor interfere with party disputes in the state. And indeed, although there seemed to be a close resemblance between the two words politeness and politics, yet no ideas are more inconsistent in their natures. However, to avoid all appearance of disaffection, I have taken care to enforce loyalty by an invincible argument drawn from the very fountain of this noble science, in the following short terms that ought to be writ in gold. Must is for the king, which uncontrollable maxim I took particular care of introducing in the first page of my book, thereby to instill early the best Protestant loyal notions into the minds of my readers. Neither is it merely my own private opinion that politeness is the firmest foundation upon which loyalty can be supported, for thus happily sings the divine Mr. Tibalds or Theobalds in one of his birthday poems: I am no scholard, but I am polite. Therefore be sure I am no Jacobite. Here likewise to the same purpose, that great master of the whole poetic choir, our most illustrious laureate Mr. Colley Cibber, who in his talk can't speak a polite thing, will never loyal be to George our King. I could produce many more shining passages out of our principal poets of both sexes to confirm this momentous truth, from whence I think it may be fairly concluded that whoever can most contribute towards propagating the science contained in the following sheets through the kingdoms of Great Britain and Ireland may justly demand all the favor that the wisest court and most judicious senate are able to confer on the most deserving subject, I leave the application to my readers. This is the work which I have been so hardy to attempt, and without the least mercenary view neither do I doubt of succeeding to my full wish, except among the Tories and their abettors, who being all Jacobites and consequently Papists in their hearts from a want of true taste, or by strong affectation, may perhaps resolve not to read my book choosing, rather to deny themselves the pleasure and honor of shining in polite company among the principal genius of both sexes throughout the kingdom, than adorn their minds with this noble art, and probably apprehending, as I confess, nothing is more likely to happen that a true spirit of loyalty to the Protestant succession should steal in along with it. If my favorable and gentle readers could possibly conceive the perpetual watchings, the numberless toils, the frequent risings in the night, to set down several ingenious sentences, that I suddenly or accidentally recollected, and which without my utmost vigilance had been irrecoverably lost for ever, if they would consider with what incredible diligence I daily and nightly attended at those houses, where persons of both sexes, and of the most distinguished merit used to meet and display their talents, with what attention I listened to all their discourses the better to retain them in my memory, and then at proper seasons withdrew unobserved to enter them in my table book, while the company little suspected what a noble work I had then in embryo. I say, if all these were known to the world, I think it would be no great presumption in me to expect at a proper juncture the public thanks of both Houses of Parliament for the service and honor I have done to the whole nation by my single pen. Although I have never been once charged with the least tincture of vanity, the reader will, I hope, give me leave to put an easy question: what has become of all the King of Sweden's victories? Where are the fruits of them at this day? Or of what benefit will they be to posterity? Were not many of his greatest actions owing at least in part to fortune? Were not all of them owing to the valor of his troops as much as to his own conduct? Could he have conquered the Polish king, or the Tsar of Muscovy, with his single arm? Far be it from me to envy or lessen the fame he hath acquired. But at the same time, I will venture to say without breach of modesty, that I who have alone with this right hand subdued barbarism, rudeness, and rusticity, who have established and fixed for ever the whole system of all true politeness and refinement in conversation, should think myself most inhumanly treated by my countrymen, and would accordingly resent it, as the highest indignity to be put upon the level, in point of fame, in afterages with Charles the 12th, late King of Sweden. And yet so incurable is the love of detraction, perhaps beyond what the charitable reader will easily believe, that I have been assured by more than one credible person how some of my enemies have industriously whispered about that one Isaac Newton, an instrument maker formerly living near Leicester Fields, and afterwards a workman at the Mint in the Tower, might possibly pretend to vie with me for fame in future times. The man, it seems, was knighted for making sundials better than others of his trade, and was thought to be a conjurer, because he knew how to draw lines and circles upon a slate which no body could understand. But adieu to all noble attempts for endless renown. If the ghost of an obscure mechanic shall be raised up to enter into competition with me, only for his skill in making pothooks and hangers, with a pencil, which many thousand accomplished gentlemen and ladies can perform as well with a pen and ink upon a piece of paper, and in a manner as little intelligible as those of Sir Isaac. My most ingenious friend already mentioned Mr. Colley Cibber, who does too much honor to the laurel crown he deservedly wears, as he hath often done to many imperial diadems placed on his head, was pleased to tell me that if my treatise were formed into a comedy, the representation performed to advantage on our theatre might very much contribute to the spreading of polite conversation among all persons of distinction through the whole kingdom. I own the thought was ingenious, and my friend's intention good, but I cannot agree to his proposal for Mr. Cibber himself. Allowed that the subjects handled in my work, being so numerous and extensive, it would be absolutely impossible for 1, 2, or even 6 comedies to contain them, from whence it will follow that many admirable and essential rules for polite conversation must be omitted. And here let me do justice to my friend Mr. Tibalds, who plainly confessed before Mr. Cibber himself that such a project as it would be a great diminution to my honor, so it would intolerably mangle my scheme, and thereby destroy the principal end, at which I aim to form a complete body or system of this most useful science in all its parts, and therefore Mr. Tibalds, whose judgment was never disputed, chose rather to fall in with my proposal mentioned before of erecting public schools and seminaries all over the kingdom, to instruct the young people of both sexes in this art, according to my rules, and in the method that I have laid down. I shall conclude this long but necessary introduction with a request, or indeed, rather a just and reasonable demand from all lords, ladies, and gentlemen, that while they are entertaining and improving each other with those polite questions, answers, repartees, replies, and rejoinders, which I have with infinite labor and close application during the space of 36 years been collecting for their service, and improvement they shall as an instance of gratitude on every proper occasion quote my name after this, or the like manner, madam, as our master Wagstaff, says my lord as our friend Wagstaff, has it I do likewise expect that all my pupils shall drink my health every day at dinner and supper during my life, and that they or their posterity shall continue the same ceremony to my not inglorious memory after my decease for ever. Polite conversation. In 3 dialogues. Dramatis person. The men's. Lord Sparkish. Lord Smart. Sir John Linger. Mr. Neverout. Colonel Atwit. The ladies. Lady Smart. Miss Notable. Lady Answerall. Polite conversation, etc. St. James Park. Lord Sparkish meeting Call Atwit. Call well met my lord. Roman 450 Sparkish thank ye Colonel A. Parson would have said I hope we shall meet in heaven. When did you see Tom Neverout? Call he's just coming towards us talk of the devil. Neverout comes up. Call how do you do Tom? Neverout never the better for you. Call I hope you're never the worse, but where's your manners don't you see my lord Sparkish? Neverout my lord I beg your lordship's pardon. Roman 450 Sparkish Tom, how is it that you can't see the wood for trees, what wind blew you hither? Neverout why my lord it is an ill wind blows nobody good, for it gives me the honor of seeing your lordship. Call Tom you must go with us to Lady Smart's to breakfast. Neverout must why Colonel musts for the king. Call offering in jest to draw his sword. Call have you spoke with all your friends? Neverout Colonel, as you stout be merciful. Roman 450 Sparkish, come agree the law's costly. Call taking his hand from the hilt. Call well Tom, you are never the worse man to be afraid of me come along. Neverout, what do you think I was born in a wood to be afraid of an owl? Ill wait on you I hope Miss Notable will be there egad she's very handsome, and has wit at will. Call why everyone as they like, as the good woman said, when she kissed her cow. Lord Smart's house they knock at the door, the porter comes out. Roman 450 Sparkish pray, are you the porter? Porter yes, for want of a better. Roman 450 Sparkish, is your lady at home? Porter she was at home just now, but she's not gone out yet. Neverout I warrant this rogue's tongue is well hung. Lady Smart's antechamber. Lady Smart, and Lady Answerall at the tea table. Lady Smart my lord your lordship's most humble servant. Roman 450 Sparkish madam, you spoke too late, I was your ladyship's before. Lady Smart oh Colonel are you here? Call as sure as you're there madam. Lady Smart oh Mr. Neverout what such a man alive? Neverout I madam alive and alive like to be at your ladyship's service. Lady Smart well, I'll get a knife and nick it down that Mr. Neverout came to our house, and pray what news Mr. Neverout? Neverout why madam Queen Elizabeth's dead. Lady Smart well Mr. Neverout I see you are no changeling. Miss Notable comes in. Neverout miss your slave, I hope you're early rising, well do you no harm I hear you are but just come out of the cloth market. Miss I always rise at 11, whether it be day or no. Call miss, I hope you are up for all day. Miss yes, if I don't get a fall before night. Call miss, I heard you were out of order pray how are you now? Miss pretty well Colonel I thank you. Call pretty and well miss that's 2 very good things. Miss I mean I am better than I was. Neverout why then tease well you were sick. Miss what Mr. Neverout you take me up before I am down. Lady Smart come let us leave off children's play, and come to pushpin. Miss to Lady Smart pray madam give me some more sugar to my tea. Call oh miss you must needs be very good-humoured, you love sweet things so much. Neverout stir it up with the spoon miss, for the deeper the sweeter. Lady Smart, I assure you Miss the Colonel has made you a great compliment. Miss I am sorry for it, for I have heard say that complimenting is lying. Lady Smart to Roman 450 Sparkish my lord, methinks the sight of you is good for sore eyes. If we had known of your coming, we would have strown rushes for you. How has your lordship done this long time? Call faith, madam, he's better in health than in good conditions. Roman 450 Sparkish. Well, I see there's no worse friend than one brings from home with one, and I am not the first man has carried a rod to whip himself. Never out here's miss has not a word to throw at a dog, come a penny for your thoughts. Miss, it is not worth a farthing, for I was thinking of you. Call raising up. Lady Smart, Colonel, where are you going so soon? I hope you did not come to fetch fire. Call, madam, I must needs go home for half an hour. Miss, why, Colonel, they say the devil's at home. Lady, answer all well, but sit while you stay, tease as cheap sitting as standing. Call, no, madam, while I'm standing I am going. Miss, nay, let him go, I promise him, we want tear his clothes to hold him. Lady Smart, I suppose, Colonel, we keep you from better company, I mean only as to myself. Call, madam, I am all obedience. Call, sits down. Lady Smart, Lord, miss, how can you drink your tea, so hot, sure your mouth's pav. Roman 500. How do you like this tea, Colonel? Call, well enough, madam, but methinks it is a little moreish. Lady Smart, oh, Colonel, I understand you. Betty, bring the canister, I have but very little of this tea left. But I don't love to make two wants of one want when I have it, and want when I have it not. He. Laughs. Lady Answa, to the maid, why, sure, Betty, you are bewitched, the cream is burnt too. Betty, why, madam, the bishop has set his foot in it. Lady Smart, go you girl, and warm some fresh cream. Betty, indeed, madam, there's none left, for the cat has eaten it all. Lady Smart, I doubt it was a cat with two legs. Miss Colonel, don't you love bread and butter with your tea? Call, yes, in a morning, miss, for they say butter is gold in a morning, silver at noon, but it is lead at night. Never out, miss, the weather is so hot that my butter melts on my bread. Lady Answa, why, butter, I've heard him say, is mad twice a year. Roman 450, Sparkish, to the maid, Mrs. Betty, how does your body politic? Call, fie, my lord, yowl, make Mrs. Betty blush. Lady Smart, blush, I blush like a blue dog. Never out, pray, Mrs. Betty, are not you Tom Johnson's daughter? Betty, so my mother tells me, sir. Roman 450 Sparkish, but Mrs. Betty, I hear you are in love. Betty, my lord, I thank God I hate nobody, I am in charity with all the world. Lady Smart, why, wench, I think thy tongue runs upon wheels this morning. How came you by that scratch on your nose? Have you been fighting with the cats? Call to Miss, when will you be married? Miss, one of these odd come shortly's, Colonel. Never out, yes, they say the match is half made, the spark is willing, but Miss is not. Miss, I suppose the gentleman has got his own consent for it. Lady Answa, pray, my lord, did you walk through the park in this rain? Roman 450, Sparkish, yes, madam, we were neither sugar nor salt, we were not afraid the rain would melt us. He laugh. Call, it rained, and the sun shone at the same time. Never out, why then the devil was beating his wife behind the door, with a shoulder of mutton. Laugh. Call, a blind man would be glad to see that. Lady Smart, mister, never out, methinks you stand in your own light. Never out, ah, madam, I have done so. Roman 450, Sparkish, I am sure he sits in mine, prithee Tom, sit a little farther, I believe your father was no glacier. Lady Smart, miss, dear girl, fill me out a dish of tea, for I am very lazy. Miss fills a dish of tea, sweetens it, and then tastes it. Lady Smart, what, miss, will you be my taster? Miss, no, madam, but they say tea's an ill cook that can't lick her own fingers. Never out, pray, miss, fill me another. Miss, will you have it now or stay till you get it? Lady Answa, but Colonel, they say you went to court last night very drunk. Nay, I am told for cert, you had been among Philistines, no wonder the cat winked when both her eyes were out. Call, indeed, madam, that's a lie. Lady Answa, tease, better I should lie than you should lose your good manners, besides, I don't lie, I sit. Never out, oh faith, Colonel, you must own you had a drop in your eye, when I left you were half seas over. Roman 450, Sparkish, well, I fear Lady Answerall can't live long, she has so much wit. Never out, no, she can't live, that's certain, but she may linger 30 or 40 years. Miss, live long, I longer than a cat or a dog or a better thing. Lady Answa, oh miss, you must give your Vardy too. Roman 450, Sparkish, miss, shall I fill you another dish of tea? Miss, indeed, my lord, I have drank enough. Roman 450, Sparkish, come, it will do you more good than a month's fasting, here, take it. Miss no, I thank your lordship, enough's as good as a feast. Roman 450 Sparkish well, but if you always say no y'all never be married. Lady Answa do my lord, give her a dish for they say maids will say no and take it. Roman 450 Sparkish well, and I dare say miss, is a maid in thought word and deed. Never out I would not take my oath of that. Miss praise her speak for yourself. Lady smart fi miss they say maids should be seen and not heard. Lady Answa good, miss stir the fire that the tea kettle may boil you have done it very well now. It burns purely well, miss y'all have a cheerful husband. Miss indeed your ladyship could have stirred it much better. Lady Answa, I know that very well hussy, but I want keep a dog and bark myself. Never out what you are sick miss. Miss not at all for her ladyship meant you. Never out oh faith miss you are in lobspound get out as you can. Miss I want quarrel with my bread and butter, for all that I know when I am well. Lady Answa well but miss. Never out ah dear madam, let the matter fall take pity, on poor miss don't throw water, on a drowned rat. Miss indeed mister, never out you should be cut for the simples this morning say a word more, and you had as good eat your nails. Roman 450 Sparkish pray miss, will you be so good as to favor us with a song? Miss indeed my lord I can't, for I have a great cold. Call oh miss they say all good singers have colds. Roman 450 Sparkish pray madam, does not miss sing very well. Lady Answa, she sings as one may say my lord. Miss I hear mister, never out has a very good voice. Call yes Tom sings well but his luck's not. Never out faith colonel, you hit yourself a devilish box on the ear. Call miss, will you take a pinch of snuff? Miss no colonel you must know I never take snuff, but when I am angry. Lady Answa yes she can take snuff, but she has never a box to put it in. Miss pray colonel let me see that box. Call madam there's never a C upon it. Miss maybe there is colonel. Call I but maybes don't fly now miss. Never out colonel why so hard upon poor miss, don't set your wit against a child miss, give me a blow and ill beat him. Miss so she prayed me to tell you. Roman 450 Sparkish pray, my lady smart what kin are you to Lord Pause? Lady smart why his grandmother and mine had 4 elbows. Lady Answa well methinks here is a silent meeting, come miss hold up your head girl, there's money bid for you. Miss starts. Miss lord madam, you fright me out of my 7 senses. Roman 450 Sparkish well, I must be going. Lady Answa, I have seen hastier people than you stay all night. Call to Lady smart Tom never out, and I are to leap tomorrow for a guinea. Miss I believe Colonel Mr. Never out can leap at a crust better than you. Never out miss your tongue runs before your wit, nothing can tame you but a husband. Miss Peace I think I hear the church clock. Never out why you know as the fool thinks. Lady smart Mr. Never out your handkerchief's fallen. Miss let him set his foot on it that it mayn't fly in his face. Never out well miss. Miss I many a one says well, that thinks Roman 99. Never out well, miss ill think of this. Miss that's rhyme if you take it in time. Never out what I see you are a poet. Miss yes if I had but the wit to show it. Never out miss, will you be so kind as to fill me a dish of tea? Miss pray let your betters be served before you I am just going to fill one for myself, and you know the parson always christens his own child first. Never out but I saw you fill one just now for the colonel well, I find kissing goes by favor. Miss but pray mister, never out what lady was, that you were talking with in the side box, last Tuesday. Never out miss can you keep a secret? Miss yes I can. Never out well miss, and so can Roman 1 call odso, I have cut my thumb with this cursed knife. Lady Answa, that was your mother's fault, because she only warned you not to cut your fingers. Lady smart no noties only fools cut their fingers, but wise folks cut their thumbs. Miss I am sorry for it but I can't cry. Call don't you think miss is grown? Lady Answa I ill weeds grow apace. A puff of smoke comes down the chimney. Lady Answa lord madam, does your ladyship's chimney smoke? Call no madam but they say smoke always pursues the fair, and your ladyship sat nearest. Lady smart madam do you love bohea? Lady Answa why madam I must confess I do love it, but it does not love me. Miss to Lady smart indeed madam your ladyship is very sparing of your tea I protest the last I took was no more than water bewitch Roman 500 call pray miss, If I may be so bold, what lover gave you that fine et? Miss, don't you know, then keep counsel. Lady Answa, ill tell you, Colonel, who gave it her. It was the best lover she will ever have, while she lives, her own dear papa. Never out, methinks, miss, I don't much like the color of that ribbon. Miss, why then, Mr. Never out, do you see, if you don't much like it, you may look off of it. Roman 450 Sparkish, I don't doubt, madam, but your ladyship has heard that Sir John Brisk has got an employment at court. Lady Smart, yes, yes, and I warrant he thinks himself no small fool now. Never out, yet madam, I have heard some people take him for a wise man. Lady Smart, aye, some are wise and some are otherwise. Lady Answa, do you know him, Mr. Never out? Never out, know him, I, as well as the beggar knows his dish. Caldwell, I can only say that he has better luck than honester folks, but pray how came he to get this employment? Roman 450 Sparkish, why by chance, as the man killed the devil. Never out, why miss, you are in a brown study, what's the matter, methinks you look like Mum Chance, that was hanged for saying nothing. Miss, it have you to know I scorn your words. Never out, well, but scornful dogs will eat dirty puddings. Miss, well, my comfort is your tongue is no slander, what you would not have one be, always on the high grin. Never out, cry mapsticks, madam, no offence, I hope. Lady Smart breaks a teacup. Lady Ansel, lord, madam, how came you to break your cup? Lady Smart, I can't help it if I would cry my eyes out. Miss, why sell it, madam, and buy a new one with some of the money. Call 'tis a folly to cry for spilt milk. Lady Smart, why, if things did not break or wear out, how would tradesmen live? Miss, well, I am very sick, if any body card for it. Never out, come then, Miss, e'en make a die of it, and then we shall have a burying of our own. Miss, the devil take you, never out, besides all small curses. Lady Answa, Mary, come up, what plain never out, methinks you might have an M under your girdle, miss. Lady Smart, well, knots, never in danger, I warrant miss will spit in her hand, and hold fast, Colonel, do you like this biscuit? Call, I am like all fools, I love everything that's good. Lady Smart, well, and isn't it pure good? Call, 'tis better than a worse. Footman brings the Colonel a letter. Lady Answa, I suppose, Colonel, that's a billet due from your mistress. Call, egad, I don't know whence it comes, but woer rid it writes a hand like a foot. Miss, well, you may make a secret of it, but we can spell and put together. Never out, miss, what spells be double uzzard. Miss, buzzard in your teeth, Mr. Never out. Lady Smart, now, you are up, Mr. Never out, will you do me the favor to do me the kindness to take off the tea kettle? Roman 450, Sparkish, I wonder what makes these bells ring. Lady Answa, why, my lord, I suppose, because they pull the ropes. Here all laughs. Never out plays with a teacup. Miss, now, a child would have cried half an hour before it would have found out such a pretty plaything. Lady Smart, well said, miss, I vow, Mr. Never out, the girl is too hard for you. Never out, I miss will say anything but her prayers, and those she whistles. Miss, pray, Colonel, make me a present of that pretty penknife. Roman 450, Sparkish, I miss catch him at that, and hang him. Call not for the world, dear miss, it will cut love. Roman 450, Sparkish, Colonel, you shall be married first, I was just going to say that. Lady Smart, well, but for all that I can tell, who is a great admirer of Miss, pray, miss, how do you like Mr. Spruce? I swear, I have often seen him cast a sheep's eye out of a calf's head at you, deny it if you can. Miss, oh madam, all the world knows that Mr. Spruce is a general lover. Call, come, Miss, 'tis too true to make a jest on. Miss blushes. Lady Answa, well, however, blushing is some sign of grace. Never out, miss says nothing, but I warrant she pays it off with thinking. Miss, well, ladies and gentlemen, you are pleased to divert yourselves, but as I hope to be salved, there's nothing in it. Lady Smart, touch a galled horse in hell, whence love will creep, where it dare not go, it hold 100 pound. Mr. Never out was the inventor of that story, and Colonel, I doubt you had a finger in the pie. Lady Answa, but Colonel, you forgot to salute Miss when you came in. She said you had not been here a long time. Miss, fie, madam, I vow, Colonel, I said no such thing, I wonder at your ladyship. Call, Miss, I beg your pardon. Goes to salute her, she struggles a little. Miss, well, I had rather give a knave a kiss for once than be troubled with him, but upon my word, you are more bold than welcome. Lady Smart, fie, miss, for shame of the world and speech of good people. Never out to Miss, who is cooking her tea, and bread and butter. Never out, come, Miss, make much of not good folks are scarce. Miss what and you must come in with your 2 eggs a penny, and 3 of them rot. Call to Roman 450 Sparkish, but my lord I forgot to ask you how you like my new clothes. Roman 450 Sparkish, why very well Colonel only to deal plainly, with you, methinks the worst piece is in the middle. Hear a loud laugh often repeated. Call my lord you are too severe on your friends. Miss Mr. Never out I am hot are you a sot. Never out miss I am cold are you a scold take you that. Lady Smart I confess, that was home, I find Mr. Never out you want give your head for the washing as they say. Miss O he's a sore man, where the skin's off I see Mr. Never out has a mind to sharpen the edge of his wit, on the whetstone of my ignorance. Roman 450, Sparkish faith Tom you are struck, I never heard a better thing. Never out pray, miss give me leave to scratch you for that fine speech. Miss pox on your picture, it cost me a groat the drawing. Never out to Lady Smart Sbuds madam, I have burnt my hand with your plaguey tea kettle. Lady Smart, why then Mr. Never out you must say God save the king. Never out did you ever see the like. Miss never but once, at a wedding. Call pray miss how old are you? Miss why I am as old as my tongue, and a little older than my teeth. Roman 450 Sparkish to Lady Anne's pray madam, is Miss Buxom married I hear tease all over the town. Lady Answa, my lord she's either married or worse. Call if she ben't married at least, she's lustily promise Roman 500, but is it certain that Sir John Blunderbuss is dead at last? Roman 450 Sparkish yes, or else he's sadly wronged for they have buried him. Miss why if he be dead hell eat no more bread. Call but is he really dead? Lady Answa yes Colonel as sure as you're alive. Call they say he was an honest man. Lady Answa yes with good looking too. Miss feels a pimple on her face. Miss Lord I think my goodness is coming out madam, will your ladyship please to send me a patch? Never out miss, if you are a maid put your hand upon your spot. Miss there. Covering her face with both her hands. Lady Smart well thou art a mad girl. Gives her a tap. Miss Lord madam, is that a blow to give a child? Lady Smart lets fall her handkerchief, and the Colonel stoops for it. Lady Smart Colonel you shall have a better office. Call oh madam, I can't have a better than to serve your ladyship. Call to Lady Sparkish madam, has your ladyship read the new play written by a lord, it is called Love in a Hollow Tree. Lady Sparkish no Colonel. Call why then your ladyship has one pleasure to come. Miss sighs. Never out pray miss why do you sigh? Miss to make a fool ask and you are the first. Never out why miss I find there is nothing but a bit and a blow with you. Lady Answa why you must know miss is in love. Miss I wish my head may never ache till that day. Roman 450 Sparkish come miss never sigh, but send for him. Lady Smart and Lady Answerall speaking together, if he be hanged hell come hopping, and if he be drowned hell come dropping. Miss well I swear you'd make one die with laughing. Miss plays with a teacup, and never out plays with another. Never out well, I see one fool makes many. Miss and you're the greatest fool of any. Never out pray miss, will you be so kind to tie this string for me with your fair hands, it will go all in your day's work. Miss Mary come up, indeed tie it yourself you have as many hands, as I your man's man will have a fine office truly come pray, stand out of my spitting place. Never out well, but miss don't be angry. Miss no I was never angry in my life, but once and then nobody cared for it, so I resolved never to be angry again. Never out well, but if y'all tie it you shall never know what ill do for you. Miss so I suppose truly. Never out well, but ill make you a fine present one of these days. Miss I when the devil's blind, and his eyes are not sore yet. Never out no miss ill send it you tomorrow. Miss well tomorrow's a new day, but I suppose you mean tomorrow come and ever. Never out OT's the prettiest thing I assure you there came, but 2 of them over in 3 ships. Miss would I could see it quoth blind Hugh, but why did you not bring me a present of snuff this morning? Never out because miss you never asked me, and tease an ill dog that's not worth whistling for. Roman 450 Sparkish to Lady Answa pray madam, how came your ladyship last Thursday to go to that odious puppet show? Call why to be sure her ladyship went to see, and to be seen. Lady Answa, you have made a fine speech Colonel pray, what will you take for your mouthpiece? Roman 450 Sparkish take that Colonel, but pray madam was my lady snuff there, they say she is extremely handsome. Lady smart, they must not see with my eyes that think so. Never out she may pass muster well enough. Lady answer, pray how old do you take her to be? Call, why about 5 or 6 and 20. Miss, I swear she's no chicken, she's on the wrong side of 30, if she be a day. Lady answer, depend upon it shall never see 5 and 30, and a bit to spare. Call, why they say, she's one of the chief toasts in town. Lady smart, I when all the rest are out of it. Miss, well I won't be as sick as she's proud for all the world. Lady answer, she looks as if butter wouldn't melt in her mouth, but I warrant cheese won't choke her. I hear my lord what d'ye call him is courting her. Roman 450 Sparkish, what lord die mean Tom? Miss, why my lord I suppose Mr. Never out means the lord of the Lord knows what. Call, they say she dances very fine. Lady answer, she did, but I doubt her dancing days are over. Call, I can't pardon her for her rudeness to me. Lady smart, well, but you must forget and forgive. Footman comes in. Lady smart, did you call Betty? Footman, she's coming madam. Lady smart, coming I so is Christmas. Betty comes in. Lady smart, come get ready my things, where has the wench been these 3 hours? Betty, madam, I can't go faster than my legs will carry me. Lady smart, I thou hast a head, and so has a pin, but my lord all the town has it that Miss Caper is to be married to Sir Peter Gibball. One thing is certain that she hath promised to have him. Roman 450 Sparkish, why madam you know promises are either broken or kept. Lady answer, I beg your pardon my lord, promises and piecrust are made to be broken. Lady smart, nay, I had it from my Lady Caroline's own mouth, I tell you my tale, and my tale's author, if it be a lie you had it as cheap as Roman 184. Lady answer, she and I had some words last Sunday at church, but I think I gave her her own. Lady smart, her tongue runs like the clapper of a mill, she talks enough for herself, and all the company. Never out, and yet she simpers like a furmity kettle. Miss, looking in a glass. Miss lord, how my head is dressed today. Call, oh madam, a good face needs no band. Miss, no, and a bad one deserves none. Call, pray miss, where is your old acquaintance, Mrs. Wayward? Miss, why where should she be, you must needs know she's in her skin. Call, I can answer that, what if you were as far out as she's in? Miss, well, I promised to go this evening to Hyde Park on the water, but I protest I am half afraid. Never out, never fear, miss, you have the old proverb, on your side naught's near in danger. Call, why miss, let Tom never out wait on you, and then I warrant you'll be as safe as a thief in a mill, for you know he that's born to be hanged will never be drowned. Never out, thank you colonel for your good word, but faith if ever I hang it shall be about a fair lady's neck. Lady smart, who's there bid the children be quiet, and not laugh so loud. Lady answer, oh madam, let em laugh they'll near laugh younger. Never out, miss, ill tell you a secret, if y'all promise never to tell it again. Miss, no, to be sure ill tell it to nobody but friends and strangers. Never out, why then there's some dirt in my teacup. Miss, come the more there's int the more there's on't. Lady answer, po, you must eat a peck of dirt before you die. Call, I it goes all one way. Never out, pray miss, what's o'clock? Miss, why you must know tease a thing like a bell, and you are a fool that can't tell. Never out, to Lady answer, pray madam, do you tell me, for I have let my watch run down. Lady answer, why 'tis half an hour past hanging time. Call, well, I am like the butcher that was looking for his knife, and had it in his mouth. I have been searching my pockets for my snuff-box, and egad here 'tis in my hand. Miss, if it had been a bear, it would have bit you colonel, well, I wish I had such a snuff-box. Never out, y'all be long enough before you wish your skin full of eyelet holes. Call, wish in one hand. Miss, out upon you lord, what can the man mean? Roman 450, Sparkish, this tea's very hot. Lady answer, why it came from a hot place my lord. Colonel spills his tea. Lady smart, that's as well done as if I had done it myself. Call, madam, I find you live by ill neighbors when you are forked to praise yourself. Lady smart, so they prayed me to tell you. Never out, well, I want drink a drop more, if I do 'twill go down like chopped hay. Miss, pray don't say no, till you are asked. Roman 500, never out, well, what you please, and the rest again. Miss, stooping for a pin. Miss, I have heard em say that a pin a day is a groat a year. Well, as I hope to be married, forgive me for swearing I vow 'tis a needle. Call, oh, the wonderful works of nature, that a black hen should have a white egg. Never out, what you have found a mare's nest, and laugh at the eggs. Miss, pray keep your breath to cool your porridge. Never out, miss, there was a very pleasant accident last night, in St. James's Park. Miss, to Lady Smart, what was it your ladyship was going to say just now? Never out, well, Miss, tell a tale. Miss, I find you love to hear yourself talk. Never out, why if you want hear my tale, kiss my Roman, 100, miss out upon you, for a filthy creetur. Never out, what miss must I tell you a story, and find you ears. Roman 450, Sparkish to Lady Smart, pray, Madam, don't you think Mrs. Spendle very genteel? Lady Smart, why my lord, I think she was cut out for a gentlewoman, but she was spoiled in the making she wears her clothes, as if they were thrown on her with a pitchfork, and for the fashion I believe they were made in the reign of Queen Bess. Never out, well, that's neither here nor there, for you know the more careless the more modish. Call well id hold a wager, there will be a match between her and Dick Dolt, and I believe I can see as far into a millstone as another man. Miss Colonel, I must beg your pardon 1,000 times, but they say an old ape has an old eye. Never out, miss, what do you mean y'all spoil the Colonel's marriage if you call him old? Call not so old nor yet so cold, you know the rest, miss. Miss, manners is a fine thing truly. Call faith, miss, depend upon it, ill give you as good as you bring, what if you give a jest you must take a jest. Lady Smart, well, mister, never out y'all near have done, till you break that knife, and then the man won't take it again. Miss, why madam fools will be meddling, I wish he may cut his fingers, I hope you can see your own blood without fainting. Never out, why miss you shine this morning like a barn door yowl, never hold out at this rate, pray, save a little wit for tomorrow. Miss, well, you have said your say, if people will be rude I have done my comfort, is 'twill be all 1,000 year hence. Never out, miss, you have shot your bolt, I find you must have the last word, well ill go to the opera tonight, no, I can't neither for I have some business and, yet I think I must for I promised to squire the Countess to her box. Miss, the Countess of Puddledock, I suppose. Never out, peace or war, miss. Lady Smart, well, mister, never out y'all never be mad, you are of so many minds. As miss rises the chair falls behind her. Miss, well, I shan't be Lady Mayoress this year. Never out, no, miss, tease worse than that you won't be married this year. Miss, lord, you make me laugh though I ain't well. Never out, as miss is standing pulls her suddenly on his lap. Never out, now Colonel, come sit down on my lap, more sacks upon the Roman 1099. Miss, let me go, aren't you sorry for my heaviness? Never out, no, miss, you are very light, but I don't say you are a light hussy, pray, take up the chair for your pains. Miss, tease but one body's labor, you may do it yourself, I wish you would be quiet, you have more tricks than a dancing bear. Never out rises to take up the chair and miss sits in his. Never out, you won't be so soon in my grave, madam. Miss lord, I have torn my petticoat with your odious romping, my rents are coming and I am afraid, I shall fall into the ragman's hands. Never out, ill mend it, miss. Miss, you mend it, go teach your grannom to suck eggs. Never out, why miss, you are so cross, I could find in my heart to hate you. Miss, with all my heart, there will be no love lost between us. Never out, but pray my Lady Smart does not mislook, as if she could eat me without salt. Miss, ill make you one day sup sorrow for this. Never out, well, follow your own way, yowl, live the longer. Miss, see madam, how well I have mended it. Lady Smart, tease, indifferent as doll dank Roman 500, never out, 'twill last as many nights as days. Miss, well, I knew I should never have your good word. Lady Smart, my lord, my lady, answer all, and I was walking in the park last night, till near 11 'twas a very fine night. Never out, egad, so was I, and ill tell you a comical accident, egad, I lost my understanding. Miss, I am glad you had any to lose. Lady Smart, well, but what do you mean? Never out, egad, I kicked my foot against a stone and tore off the heel of my shoe, and was forked to limp to a cobbler in the Pall Mall, to have it put on he. Oh, laughs. Call, oh, 'twas a delicate night, to run away with another man's wife. Never out, sneezes. Miss, God bless you if you han't taken snuff. Never out, why would if I have, miss? Miss, why then the duce take you? Never out, miss, I want that diamond ring of yours. Miss, why then wants like to be your master? Never out, looking at the ring. Never out, I marry, this is not only, but also where did you get it? Miss, why where 'twas to be had, where the devil got the friar. Never out, well, if I had such a fine diamond ring, I wouldn't stay a day in England, but you know farfetched and dear bought is fit for ladies, I warrant this cost your father 2 halfpenny. Miss sitting between never out and the colonel. Miss well here's a rose between two nettles. Never out no madam with submission, here's a nettle between two roses. Colonel stretching himself. Lady smart, why colonel you break the king's laws you stretch without a halter. Lady answer colonel, some ladies of your acquaintance have promised to breakfast with you and I am to wait on them, what will you give us? Call why faith madam bachelors fair bread and cheese and kisses. Lady answer po, what have you bachelors to do with your money, but to treat the ladies you have nothing to keep but your own 4 quarters. Lady smart my lord has Captain Bragg the honor to be related to your lordship. Roman 450 sparkish, very nearly madam, he's my cousin German quite remove Roman 500 lady answer pray, is he not rich? Roman 450 sparkish I a rich rogue 2 shirts and a rag. Caldwell however they say he has a great estate, but only the right owner keeps him out of it. Lady smart what religion is he of? Roman 450 sparkish, why he isn't anything Garian. Lady answer, I believe he has his religion to choose my lord. Never out scratches his neck. Miss Fie mister, never out aren't you a shamdy I beg pardon for the expression, but I'm afraid your bosom friends are become your backbitters. Never out well miss, I saw a flea once on your pinner, and a L is a man's companion, but a flea is a dog's companion, however I wish you would scratch my neck with your pretty white hand. Miss and who would be fool, then I wouldn't touch a man's flesh for the universe, you have the wrong sow by the ear I assure you, that's meat for your master. Never out Miss notable, all quarrels, laid aside pray step hither for a moment. Miss ill wash my hands and wait on you sir, but pray come hither, and try to open this lock. Never out well try what we can do. Miss we what have you pigs in your belly? Never out miss I assure you I am very handy at all things. Miss Mary hang them that can't give themselves a good word, I believe you may have an even hand to throw a L in the fire. Caldwell I must be plain here's a very bad smell. Miss perhaps Colonel the Fox is the finder. Never out no Colonel tease, only your teeth against rain, but. Miss Colonel, I find you would make a very bad poor man's sow. Colonel coughing. Call I have got a sad cold. Lady answer, I tease well, if one can get anything these hard times. Miss to call choke chicken, there's more a hatching. Lady smart pray Colonel how did you get that cold? Roman 450 sparkish, why madam I suppose the Colonel got it by lying abed barefoot. Lady answer, why then Colonel you must take it for better for worse, as a man takes his wife. Call well ladies, I apprehend you without a constable. Mister, never out come hither this moment. Lady smart imitating her mister, never out I wish he were tied to your girdle. Never out what's the matter whose mare's dead now. Miss take your labor for your pains, you may go back again like a fool as you came. Never out well miss, if you deceive me a second time tease my fault. Lady smart Colonel methinks your coat is too short. Call it will be long enough before I get another madam. Miss come the coat's a good coat, and come of good friends. Never out ladies, you are mistaken in the stuff tease half silk. Call Tom never out you are a fool, and that's your fault. A great noise below. Lady smart hey what a clattering is here, one would think hell was broke loose. Miss indeed madam, I must take my leave for I an't well. Lady smart what you are sick of the mulligrubs, with eating chopped hay. Miss no indeed madam I am sick, and hungry more need of a cook than a doctor. Lady answer poor miss she's sick, as a cushion she wants nothing but stuffing. Call if you are sick you shall have a caudle of calf's eggs. Never out I can't find my gloves. Miss I saw the dog running away, with some dirty thing a while ago. Call miss you have got my handkerchief pray, let me have it. Lady smart no keep it miss for they say possession is 11 points of the law. Miss madam he shall ne'er have it again tease in huckster's hands. Lady answer what I see tease raining again. Roman 450 sparkish, why then madam we must do as they do in Spain. Miss pray my lord how is that? Roman 450 sparkish, why madam we must let it rain. Miss whispers Lady smart. Never out there's no whispering but there's lying. Miss Lord mister, never out you are as pert as a piermonger this morning. Never out indeed miss you are very handsome. Miss Poe I know that already tell me news. Somebody knocks at the door footman comes in. Footman to call and please your honor, there's a man below wants to speak to you. Call ladies your pardon for a minute. Call goes out. Lady smart miss, I sent yesterday to know how you did, but you were gone abroad early. Miss why indeed madam I was hunched up in a hackney coach, with 3 country acquaintance, who called upon me to take the air as far as Highgate. Lady smart, and had you a pleasant airing? Miss no madam, it rained all the time I was jolted to death, and the road was so bad that I screamed every moment, and called to the coachman pray friend don't spill us. Never out so miss you were afraid that pride wow'd have a fall. Miss Mr. Never out when I want a fool ill send for you. Roman 450 Sparkish miss, didn't your left ear burn last night? Miss pray why my lord? Roman 450 Sparkish, because I was then in some company, where you were extolled to the skies I assure you. Miss my lord, that was more their goodness than my desert. Roman 450 Sparkish, they said that you were a complete beauty. Miss my lord I am as God made me. Lady smart the girls well enough if she had but another nose. Miss oh madam, I know, I shall always have your good word you love to help a lame dog over the stile. One knocks. Lady smart who's there you on the wrong side of the door, come in if you be fat. Colonel comes in again. Roman 450 Sparkish, why Colonel you are a man of great business. Call I my lord I am like my lord mayor's fool full of business, and nothing to do. Lady smart, my lord don't you think the Colonel mightily fallen away of late? Roman 450 Sparkish I, fallen from a horseload to a cartload. Call why my lord egad I am like a rabbit fat, and lean in 24 hours. Lady smart I assure you the Colonel walks as straight as a pin. Miss yes, he's a handsome-bodied man in the face. Never out a handsome foot, and leg got a mercy shoe and stocking. Call what 3 upon 1, that's foul play, this wow'd make a parson swear. Never out why miss what's the matter you look, as if you had neither won nor lost. Call why you must know miss lives upon love. Miss yes upon love and lumps of the cupboard. Lady Answa, I they say love and peace porridge are 2 dangerous things, one breaks the heart, and the other the belly. Miss imitating Lady Answerall's tone, very pretty one breaks the heart, and the other the belly. Lady Answa have a care they say mocking is catching. Miss I never heard that. Never out, why then miss you have a wrinkle more than ever you had before. Miss well live and learn. Never out I and be hanged and forget all. Miss well mister, never out take it as you please, but I swear you are a saucy jack to use such expressions. Never out why then miss if you go to that I must tell you there's near a jack, but there's a Jill. Miss oh mister, never out everybody knows that you are the pink of courtesy. Never out, and miss all the world allows that you are the flower of civility. Lady smart miss I hear there was a great deal of company, where you visited last night pray who were they? Miss why there was old lady forward miss toned again Sir John Ogle my lady Clapper, and I quoth the dog. Call was your visit long miss. Miss why truly they went all to the opera, and so poor Pilgarlic came home alone. Never out alack a day poor miss methinks it grieves me to pity you. Miss what you think you said a fine thing now well, if I had a dog, with no more wit I would hang him. Roman 450 smart miss, if it be manners may I ask which is oldest you or Lady Scuttle? Miss why my lord, when I die for age she may quake for fear. Lady smart she's a very great gatter abroad. Lady Answa lord, she made me follow her last week, through all the shops like a Tantany pig. Lady smart, I remember you told me you had been with her, from Dan to Beersheba. Colonel Spitz. Call lord I shall die I cannot spit from me. Miss oh mister, never out my little countess, has just littered speak me fair and ill, set you down for a puppy. Never out why miss, if I speak you fair perhaps I mayn't tell truth. Roman 450 Sparkish I, but Tom smoke that she calls you puppy by craft. Never out well, miss you ride the 4-horse today. Miss I many a one says well, that thinks Roman 99, never out fie, miss you said that once before, and you know too much of one thing is good for nothing. Miss why sure we can't say a good thing too often. Roman 450 Sparkish well so much for that. And butter for fish let us call another cause, pray madam, does your ladyship know Mrs. Nice? Lady smart, perfectly well my lord she's nice by name and nice by nature. Roman 450 Sparkish, is it possible she could take that booby Tom blunder for love? Miss she had good skill in horseflesh, that could choose a goose to ride on. Lady Answa, why my lord 'twas her fate they say marriage, and hanging go by destiny. Call I believe shall never be burnt for a witch. Roman 450 Sparkish. They say marriages are made in heaven, but I doubt when she was married, she had no friend there. Never out well, she's got out of God's blessing into the warm sun. Call the fellows well enough if he had any guts in his brains. Lady smart. They say thereby hangs a tale. Roman 450 Sparkish. Why he's a mere hobbledehoy, neither a man nor a boy. Miss well, if I were to choose a husband, I would never be married to a little man. Never out pray why so miss, for they say of all evils, we ought to choose the least. Miss because folks would say when they saw us together, there goes the woman and her husband. Call to Lady Smart, will your ladyship be on the mall tomorrow night? Lady Smart, no, that won't be proper, you know, tomorrow's Sunday. Roman 450 Sparkish. What then, madam? They say the better day the better deed. Lady Answa, pray mister, never out, how do you like Lady Fruz? Never out, pox on her, she's as old as poles. Miss, so will you be, if you ben't hanged when you're a young. Never out, come, miss, let us be friends, will you go to the park this evening? Miss, with all my heart, and a piece of my liver, but not with you. Lady Smart, ill tell you one thing, and that's not too, I am afraid, I shall get a fit of the headach today. Call, oh madam, don't be afraid, it comes with a fright. Miss to Lady Answa, madam, one of your ladyship's lappets, is longer than t'other. Lady Answa, well, no matter, they that ride on a trotting horse will near perceive it. Never out indeed, miss, your lappets hang worse. Miss, well, I love a liar in my heart, and you fit me to a hair. Miss rises up. Never out, duce, take you, miss, you trod on my foot, I hope you don't intend to come to my bedside. Miss, in troth you are afraid of your friends, and none of them near you. Roman 450 Sparkish, well said, girl, giving her a chuck take, that they say a chuck under the chin is worth 2 kisses. Lady Answa, but Mr. Neverout, I wonder why such a handsome straight young gentleman, as you do not get some rich widow. Roman 450 Sparkish, straight as my leg, and that's crooked at knee. Neverout, faith madam, if it rained rich widows, none of them would fall upon me, egad, I was born under a threepenny planet, never to be worth a groat. Lady Answa, no, Mr. Neverout, I believe you were born with a caul on your head, you are such a favourite among the ladies. But what think you of widow Prim? She's immensely rich. Neverout, hang her, they say her father was a baker. Lady Smart, I, but it is not what is she, but what has she nowadays. Call Tom Faith, put on a bold face for once, and have at the widow ill speak a good word for you to her. Lady Answa, I warrant y'all speak 1 word for him, and 2 for yourself. Miss, well, I had that at my tongue's end. Lady Answa, why miss, they say good wits jump. Neverout, faith madam, I had rather marry a woman I loved in her smock, than widow Prim, if she had her weight in gold. Lady Smart, come, Mr. Neverout, marriage is honourable, but housekeeping is a shrew. Lady Answa, consider Mr. Neverout 4 bare legs in a bed, and you are a younger brother. Call, well madam, the younger brother is the better gentleman, however Tom, I would advise you to look before you leap. Roman 450 Sparkish, the colonel says true, besides, you can't expect to wive and thrive in the same year. Miss, shuddering lord, there's somebody walking over my grave. Call, pray Lady Answerall, where was you last Wednesday when I did myself the honour to wait on you? I think your ladyship is one of the tribe of Gad. Lady Answa, why colonel, I was at church. Call, nay then will I be hanged, and my horse too. Neverout, I believe her ladyship was at a church, with a chimney in it. Miss Lord, my petticoat, how it hangs by geometry. Neverout, perhaps the fault may be in your shape. Miss, looking gravely, come Mr. Neverout, there's no jest like the true jest, but I suppose you think my back's broad enough to bear everything. Neverout, madam, I humbly beg your pardon. Miss, well sir, your pardon's granted. Neverout, well, all things have an end, and a puddin has 2 youp upon my mimmy word stutters. Miss, what Mr. Neverout, can't you speak without a spoon? Roman 450 Sparkish to Lady Smart, has your ladyship seen the Duchess, since you're falling out? Lady Smart, never my lord, but once at a visit, and she looked at me, as the devil looked over Lincoln. Neverout, pray, miss, take a pinch of my snuff. Miss, what you break my head, and give me a plaister well with all my heart once, and not use it. Neverout, well miss, if you wanted me, and your victuals you'd want your 2 best friends. Call to Neverout, Tom, miss, and you must kiss and be friends. Neverout salutes miss. Miss, anything for a quiet life, my nose itched, and I knew I should drink wine or kiss a fool. Call well Tom, if that bent fair hang fair. Never out, I never said a rude thing to a lady in my life. Miss, here's a pin for that lie. I am sure Liars had need of good memories. Pray Colonel, was not he very uncivil to me, but just now? Lady Answa, Mr. Never out, if Miss will be angry for nothing, take my counsel, and bid her turn the buckle of her girdle behind her. Never out, come Lady Answerall, I know better things, Miss and I are good friends, don't put tricks upon travellers. Call Tom, not a word of the puddin', I beg you. Lady Smart, ah Colonel Yowl, never be good nor then neither. Roman 450 Sparkish, which of the goods die mean good for something or good for nothing? Miss, I have a blister on my tongue, yet I don't remember I told a lie. Lady Answa, I thought you did just now. Roman 450 Sparkish, pray, madam, what did thought do? Lady Answa, well for my life, I cannot conceive what your lordship means. Roman 450 Sparkish, indeed madam, I meant no harm. Lady Smart, no, to be sure my lord, you are as innocent as a devil of 2 years old. Never out, madam, they say ill-doers are ill-deemers, but I don't apply it to your ladyship. Miss, mending a hole in her lace. Miss, well you see I am mending, I hope, I shall be good in time. Look, Lady Answerall is not it well mended. Lady Answa, I this is something like a tansy. Never out, faith, Miss, you have mended it, as a tinker mends a kettle, stop one hole, and make two. Lady Smart, pray Colonel, are not you very much tanned? Call yes madam, but a cup of Christmas ale will soon wash it off. Roman 450 Sparkish, Lady Smart, does not your ladyship think Mrs. Fade is mightily altered since her marriage? Lady Answa, why my lord, she was handsome in her time, but she cannot eat her cake, and have her cake I hear she's grown a mere automy. Lady Smart, poor creature, the black has set his foot upon her already. Miss I, she has quite lost the blue on the plum. Lady Smart, and yet they say her husband is very fond of her still. Lady Answa, oh madam, if she would eat gold, he would give it her. Never out, to Lady Smart, madam, have you heard that Lady Queasy was lately at the playhouse in Cog? Lady Smart, what Lady Queasy of all women in the world do you say it upon rep? Never out, pause, I saw her with my own eyes. She sat among the mob in the gallery, her own ugly phiz, and she saw me look at her. Call her ladyship was plaguily bammed, I warn it put her into the hips. Never out, I smoked her huge nose, and egad, she put me in mind of the woodcock that strives to hide his long bill, and then thinks nobody sees him. Call Tom, I advise you hold your tongue for yowl, never say so good a thing again. Lady Smart, miss, what are you looking for? Miss, oh madam, I have lost the finest needle. Lady Answa, why seek till you find it, and then you won't lose your labor. Never out, the loop of my hat is broke, how shall I mend it? He fastens it with a pin, well hang them say, I that has no shift. Miss I, and hang him that has one too many. Never out, oh miss, I have heard a sad story of you. Miss, I defy you, mister, never out, nobody can say black's my eye. Never out, I believe you wish they could. Miss, well, but who was your author? Come tell truth, and shame the devil. Never out, come then, miss, guess who it was that told me come put on your considering cap. Miss, well, who was it? Never out, why one that lives within a mile of an oak. Miss, well, go hang yourself in your own garters, for I am sure the gallows groans for you. Never out, pretty miss, I was but in jest. Miss, well, but don't let that stick in your gizzard. Call my lord, does your lordship know Mrs. Talkall? Roman 450 Smart only by sight, but I hear she has a great deal of wit, and egad, as the saying is, metal to the back. Lady Smart, so I hear. Call, why Dick Lubber said to her t'other day, madam, you can't cry bow to a goose, yes, but I can, said she, and egad cried Beau full in his face, we all thought we should break our hearts with laughing. Roman 450 Sparkish, that was cutting with a vengeance, and prithee how did the fool look? Call, look, egad, he looked for all the world like an owl in an ivy bush. A child comes in screaming. Miss, well, if that child was mine, I'd whip it, till the blood came. Peace, you little vixen, if I were near you, I would not be far from you. Lady Smart, I bachelors' wives and maids' children, are finely tutor. Roman 500, Lady Answa, come to me master, and ill, give you a sugar plum, why miss, you forgot that ever you was a child yourself. She gives the child a lump of sugar, I have heard say boys will long. Call my lord, I suppose you know that Mr. Buzzard has married again. Lady Smart, this is his fourth wife, then he has been shod round. Call why you must know, she had a month's mind to Dick frontless, and thought to run away with him, but her parents forked her to take the old fellow for a good settlement. Roman 450 sparkish, so the man got his mare again. Roman 450 smart I am told, he said a very good thing to Dick. Said he, you think us old fellows are fools, but we old fellows know young fellows are fools. Call I know nothing of that, but I know he's devilish old, and she's very young. Lady Answa, why they call that a match of the world's making. Miss, what if he had been young and she old? Never out, why miss, that would have been a match of the devil's making, but when both are young that's a match of God's making. Miss, searching her pockets for her thimble, brings out a nutmeg. Never out, oh miss, have a care for if you carry a nutmeg in your pocket, y'all certainly be married to an old man. Miss, well, and if ever I be married it shall be to an old man, they always make the best husbands, and it is better to be an old man's darling than a young man's warling. Never out, faith miss, if you speak as you think ill, give you my mother for a maid. Lady Smart rings the bell, footman comes in. Lady Smart, harkee you fellow, run to my lady Match, and desire she will remember to be here at 6 to play at quadrille die here. If you fall by the way, don't stay to get up again. Footman, madam, I don't know the house. Lady Smart, well, that's not for want of ignorance, follow your nose, go inquire among the servants. Footman goes out, and leaves the door open. Lady Smart, here come back, you fellow, why did you leave the door open? Remember that a good servant must always come when he's called, do what he's bid, and shut the door after him. The footman goes out again, and falls downstairs. Lady Answa, neck, or nothing come down or ill fetch you down well, but I hope the poor fellow has not saved the hangman a labour. Never out, pray madam, smoke miss yonder, biting her lips, and playing with her fan. Miss, who's that takes my name in vain? She runs up to them and falls down. Lady Smart, what more falling do you intend the frolic should go round? Lady Answa, why miss, I wish you may not have broke her ladyship's floor. Never out, miss, come to me, and ill take you up. Lady Sparkish, well, but without a jest I hope, miss, you are not hurt. Call, nay, she must be hurt for certain, for you see her head is all of a lump. Miss, well, remember this, Colonel, when I have money, and you have none. Lady Smart, but Colonel, when do you design to get a house, and a wife, and a fire to put her in? Miss, Lord, who would be married to a soldier, and carry his knapsack. Never out, oh Madam Mars and Venus, you know. Call, egad, madam, I'd marry tomorrow, if I thought I could bury my wife, just when the honeymoon is over. But they say, a woman has as many lives as a cat. Lady Answa, I find the Colonel thinks a dead wife under the table is the best goods in a man's house. Lady Smart, oh, but Colonel, if you had a good wife, it would break your heart to part with her. Call, yes, madam, for they say he that has lost his wife and sixpence has lost a tester. Lady Smart, but Colonel, they say that every married man should believe there's but one good wife in the world, and that's his own. Call, for all that I doubt a good wife must be bespoke, for there is none ready-made. Miss, I suppose the gentleman's a woman-hater, but sir, I think you ought to remember that you had a mother, and pray, if it had not been for a woman, where would you have been, Colonel? Call, nay, miss, you cried we first, when you talked of the knapsack. Lady Answa, but I hope you won't blame the whole sex because some are bad. Never out, and they say he that hates woman sucked a sow. Call, oh madam, there's no general rule without an exception. Lady Smart, then why don't you marry and settle? Call, egad, madam, there's nothing will settle me but a bullet. Roman 450 sparkish, well, Colonel, there's one comfort, that you need not fear a cannon bullet. Call, why so, my lord? Roman 450 sparkish, because they say he was cursed in his mother's belly, that was killed by a cannon bullet. Miss, I suppose the Colonel was crossed in his first love, which makes him so severe on all the sex. Lady Answa, yes, and ill, hold 100 to 1 that the Colonel has been over head and ears in love with some lady that has made his heart ache. Call, oh madam, we soldiers are admirers of all the fair sex. Miss, I wish I could see the Colonel in love till he was ready to die. Lady Smart, but I doubt few people die for love in these days. Never out, well, I confess I differ from the Colonel, for I hope to have a rich and a handsome wife yet before I die. Call, I Tom live horse, and thou shalt have grass. Miss, well, Colonel, but whatever you say against women, they are better creatures than men, for men were made of clay, but woman was made of man. Call, miss, you may say what you please, but faith, y'all never lead apes in hell. Never out no ill be sworn miss, has not an inch of nun's flesh about her. Miss I understumble you gentlemen. Never out, madam your humble cumdumble. Roman 450 Sparkish pray miss, when did you see your old acquaintance Mrs. Cloudy? You and she are two I hear. Miss see her marry, I don't care whether I ever see her again, God bless my eyesight. Lady Answa Lord why she, and you were as great as two incluivers I've seen her hug you, as the devil hugged the witch. Miss that's true but I am told for certain, she's no better than she should be. Lady Smart well God mend us all, but you must allow the world is very censorious, I never heard that she was a naughty pack. Call to never out come Sir Thomas, when the king pleases, when do you intend to march? Roman 450, Sparkish have patience, Tom, is your friend Ned Rattle married? Never out yes faith my lord, he has tied a knot with his tongue, that he can never untie with his teeth. Lady Smart I marry in haste, and repent at leisure. Lady Answa, has he got a good fortune with his lady for they say, something has some savour, but nothing has no flavour. Never out faith madam all he gets by her, he may put into his eye, and see never the worse. Miss then, I believe he heartily wishes her, in Abraham's bosom. Call pray my lord, how does Charles Limber and his fine wife agree? Roman 450 Sparkish, why they say he's the greatest cuckold in town. Never out oh, but my lord you should always accept my lord mayor. Miss Mr. Never out. Never out hey madam did you call me? Miss hey why hey is for horses. Never out why miss then you may kiss. Call pray my lord what's o'clock by your oracle? Roman 450 Sparkish faith, I can't tell I think my watch runs upon wheels. Never out miss pray be so kind to call a servant, to bring me a glass of small beer, I know you are at home here. Miss every fool can do as they're a bid make a page of your own age, and do it yourself. Never out choose proud fool I did but ask you. Miss puts her hand to her knee. Never out what miss are you thinking of your sweetheart, is your garter slipping down? Miss pray mister, never out keep your breath to cool your porridge, you measure my corn by your bushel. Never out indeed miss you lie. Miss did you ever hear anything so rude? Never out I mean you lie under a mistake. Miss if 1,000 lies could choke you you would have been choked many a day ago. Miss tries to snatch never out snuff box. Never out madam you missed that, as you missed your mother's blessing. She tries again and misses. Never out snap short makes you look so lean miss. Miss Poe you are so robustious you had like to put out my eye I assure you, if you blind me you must lead me. Lady Smart dear, miss be quiet, and bring me a pincushion out of that closet. Miss opens the closet door and squalls. Lady Smart Lord bless the girl what's the matter now? Miss I vow madam, I saw something in black, I thought it was a spirit. Call why miss did you ever see a spirit? Miss no sir I thank God, I never saw anything worse than myself. Never out well, I did a very foolish thing yesterday, and was a great puppy for my pains. Miss very likely for they say, many a true word spoke in jest. Footman returns. Lady Smart well, did you deliver your message? You are fit to be sent for sorrow you stay so long by the way. Footman madam my lady was not at home, so I did not leave the message. Lady Smart this is it, to send a fool of an errand. Roman 450 Sparkish, looking at his watch tease, past 12 o'clock. Lady Smart well what is that among all us? Roman 450 Sparkish madam, I must take my leave come gentlemen are you for a march? Lady Smart well but your lordship and the colonel will dine with us today, and Mr. Neverout I hope we shall have your good company, there will be no soul else besides my own lord, and these ladies for every body knows. I hate a crowd, I would rather want victuals than elbow room, we dine punctually at 3. Roman 450 Sparkish madam, well be sure to attend your ladyship. Call madam my stomach, serves me instead of a clock. Another footman comes back. Lady Smart, oh you are the t'other fellow, I sent well have you been with my lady club, you are good to send of a dead man's errand. Footman madam my lady club begs your ladyship's pardon, but she is engaged tonight. Miss well mister, never out here's the back of my hand to you. Never out miss I find you will have the last word ladies, I am more yours than my own. Polite conversation etc. Dialogue Roman 2 Lord Smart, and the former company at 3 o'clock coming to dine. After salutations. Lord Smart I am sorry I was not at home this morning, when you all did us the honor to call here, but I went to the levee today. Roman 450, Sparkish. Oh my lord, I am sure the loss was ours. Lady smart gentlemen and ladies, you are come to a sad dirty house, I am sorry for it, but we have had our hands in mortar. Roman 450, Sparkish. Oh madam, your ladyship is pleased to say so, but I never saw anything so clean, and so fine I profess it is a perfect paradise. Lady smart, my lord, your lordship is always very obliging. Roman 450, Sparkish. Pray madam, whose picture is that? Lady smart, why my lord, it was drawn for me. Roman 450, Sparkish. Ill, swear the painter did not flatter your ladyship. Call my lord, the day is finely cleared up. Roman 450, Smart. I colonel, 'tis a pity that fair weather should ever do any harm to Neverout. Why Tom, you are high in the mode. Neverout, my lord, it is better be out of the world than out of the fashion. Roman 450, Smart. But Tom, I hear you and miss are always quarreling. I fear it is your fault, for I can assure you she is very good humor. Roman 500. Neverout, I my lord, so is the devil, when he's pleased. Roman 500. Roman 450, Smart. Miss, what do you think of my friend Tom? Miss, my lord, I think he's not the wisest man in the world, and truly he's sometimes very rude. Roman 450, Sparkish. That may be true, but yet he that hangs Tom for a fool may find a knave in the halter. Miss, well, however, I wish you were hanged if it were only to try. Neverout, well miss, if I must be hanged, I won't go far to choose my gallows, it shall be about your fair neck. Miss, ill see your nose cheese first, and the dog's eating it, but my lord Mr. Neverout's wit begins to run low, for I vow. He said this before. Pray colonel, give him a pinch, and ill do as much for you. Roman 450, Sparkish. My lady smart, your ladyship has a very fine scarf. Lady smart, yes, my lord, it will make a flaming figure in a country church. Footman comes in. Footman, madam, dinner's upon the table. Call faith, I am glad of it, my belly began to cry. Cupboard. Neverout, I wish I may never hear worse news. Miss, what Mr. Neverout, you are in great haste, I believe your belly thinks your throat's cut. Neverout, no faith, miss, 3 meals a day, and a good supper at night, will serve my turn. Miss, to say the truth, I am hungry. Neverout and I am angry, so let us both go fight. They go in to dinner, and after the usual compliments take their seats. Lady smart, ladies and gentlemen, will you eat any oysters before dinner? Call with all my heart, takes an oyster. He was a bold man that first eat an oyster. Lady smart, they say oysters are a cruel meat, because we eat them alive. Then they are an uncharitable meat, for we leave nothing to the poor, and they are an ungodly meat, because we never say grace. Neverout, faith, that's as well said as if I had said it myself. Lady smart, well, we are well set if we be, but as well served. Come colonel, handle your arms, shall I help you to some beef? Call, if your ladyship please, and pray don't cut like a mother-in-law, but send me a large slice, for I love to lay a good foundation. I vow 'tis a noble sirloin. Neverout, I here's cut and come again. Miss, but pray why is it called a sirloin? Roman 450, Sparkish. Why, you must know that our King James I, who loved good eating, being invited to dinner by one of his nobles, and seeing a large loin of beef at his table, he drew out his sword, and in a frolic knighted it. Few people know the secret of this. Roman 450, Sparkish. Beef is man's meat, my lord. Roman 450, Smart. But my lord, I say beef is the king of meat. Miss, pray what have I done that I must not have a plate? Lady smart, to Lady Answa, what will your ladyship please to eat? Lady Answa, pray madam, help yourself. Call, they say eating and scratching wants, but a beginning, if you will give me leave, ill help myself to a slice of this shoulder of veal. Lady smart, colonel, you can't do a kinder thing. Well, you are all heartily welcome, as I may say. Call, they say there are 30 Antwo good bits in a shoulder of veal. Lady smart, I colonel, 30 bad bits, and 2 good ones. You see, I understand you, but I hope you have got one of the 2 good ones. Neverout, colonel, ill be of your mess. Call, then pray Tom, carve for yourself, they say 2 hands in a dish, and 1 in a purse. Ha, said I, well Tom. Neverout, colonel, you spoke like an oracle. Miss, to Lady Answa, madam, will your ladyship help me to some fish? Roman 450, Smart, to Neverout, Tom, they say fish should swim thrice. Neverout, how is that, my lord? Roman 450, Smart, why Tom, first it should swim in the sea, do you mind me, then it should swim in butter, and at last, sirrah, it should swim in good claret. I think I have made it out. Footman, to Roman 450, Smart, my lord Sir John Linger is coming up. Roman 450 smart God, so I invited him to dine with me today, and forgot it well desire him to walk in. Sir John Linger comes in. Sir John, what are you at it? Why then ill be gone. Lady Smart, Sir John, I beg you will sit down, come the more the merrier. Sir John, I, but the fewer the better cheer. Lady Smart, well, I am the worst in the world at making apologies. It was my lord's fault, I doubt. You must kiss the hare's foot. Sir John, I see you are fast by the teeth. Call faith, Sir John, we're killing that would kill us. Roman 450 Sparkish, you see, Sir John, we are upon a business of life and death. Come, will you do as we do? You are come in pudden time. Sir John, I, this would you be doing, if I were dead, what you keep court towers, I see ill be going and get a bit of meat at my inn. Lady Smart, why we want eat you, Sir John. Sir John, it is my own fault, but I was kept by a fellow who bought some Derbyshire oxen from me. Never out, you see, Sir John, we stayed for you, as one horse does for another. Lady Smart, my lord, will you help Sir John to some beef? Lady Answer all, pray eat you see your dinner. I am sure, if we had known we should have such good company, we should have been better provided. But you must take the will for the deed. I am afraid you are invited to your loss. Call and pray, Sir John, how do you like the town? You have been absent a long time. Sir John, why I find little London stands just where it did when I left it last. Never out, what do you think of Hanover Square? Why, Sir John, London is gone out of town since you saw it. Lady Smart, Sir John, I can only say you are heartily welcome, and I wish I had something better for you. Call, here's no salt, cuckolds will run away with the meat. Roman 450 Smart, pray, edge, a little to make more room for Sir John. Sir John, fall to you know, half an hour is soon lost at dinner. Sir John, I protest, I can't eat a bit, for I took share of a beefsteak, and 2 mugs of ale with my chapman, besides a tankard of March beer as soon as I got out of bed. Lady Answer, not fresh and fasting, I hope. Sir John, yes, faith, madam, I always wash my kettle before I put the meat in it. Lady Smart, po, Sir John, you have seen 9 houses. Since you eat last come you have kept a corner of your stomach, for a piece of venison pasty. Sir John, well ill, try what I can do when it comes up. Lady Answer, come Sir John, you may go further and fare worse. Mr. Neverout, pray Mr. Neverout, will you please to send me a piece of tongue? Neverout, by no means, madam, one tongue's enough for a woman. Call, miss, here's a tongue that never told a lie. Miss, that was because it could not speak. Why, Colonel, I never told a lie in my life. Neverout, I appeal to all the company whether that be not the greatest lie that ever was told. Call to Neverout, prithee Tom, send me the 2 legs, and rump and liver of that pigeon, for you must know I love what nobody else loves. Neverout, but what if any of the ladies should long well here take it, and the DL do you good with it? Lady Answer, well, this eating and drinking takes away a body's stomach. Neverout, I am sure I have lost mine. Miss, what the bottom of it, I suppose? Neverout, no really, miss, I have quite lost it. Miss, I should be very sorry, a poor body had found it. Lady Smart, but Sir John, we hear you are married, since we saw you last. What you have stolen a wedding, it seems. Sir John, well, one can't do a foolish thing once in one's life, but one must hear of it 100 times. Call and pray, Sir John, how does your lady unknown? Sir John, my wife's well, Colonel, and at your service in a civil way, ha ha, he laughs. Miss, pray, Sir John, is your lady tall or short? Sir John, why, miss, I thank God she is a little evil. Roman 450 Sparkish, come give me a glass of claret. Footman fills him a bumper. Roman 450 Sparkish, why do you fill so much? Neverout, my lord, he fills, as he loves you. Lady Smart, miss, shall I send you some cowcumber? Miss, madam, I dare not touch it, for they say cowcumbers are cold in the 3rd degree. Lady Smart, Mr. Neverout, do you love puddin'? Neverout, madam, I am like all fools, I love everything that is good, but the proof of the puddin' is in the eating. Call Sir John, I hear you are a great walker when you are at home. Sir John, no faith, Colonel, I always love to walk with a horse in my hand, but I have had devilish bad luck in horseflesh of late. Roman 450 Smart, why then, Sir John, you must kiss a parson's wife. Lady Smart, they say, Sir John, that your lady has a great deal of wit. Sir John, madam, she can make a puddin', and has just wit enough to know her husband's breeches from another man's. Lady Smart, my lord Sparkish, I have some excellent cider, will you please to taste it? Roman 450 Sparkish, my lord, I should like it well enough if it were not so treacherous. Roman 450, smart pray my lord how is it treacherous? Roman 450 sparkish, because it smiles in my face, and cuts my throat hear a loud laugh. Miss also madam your knives are very sharp for I have cut my finger. Lady smart I am sorry for it pray which finger God bless the mark. Miss why this finger no tease this I vow I can't find which it is. Never out I the fox had a wound, and he could not tell where Roman 100 bring some water to throw in her face. Miss pray mister, never out did you ever draw a sword in anger, I warrant you would faint at the sight of your own blood. Lady smart mister, never out shall I send you some veal. Never out no madam I don't love it. Miss then pray for them, that do I desire your ladyship will send me a bit. Roman 450, smart Tom my service to you. Never out my lord this moment, I did myself the honor to drink to your lordship. Roman 450 smart, why then that's Hertfordshire kindness. Never out faith my lord, I pledged myself for I drank twice together without thinking. Roman 450 sparkish, why then colonel my humble service to you. Never out pray my lord don't make a bridge of my nose. Roman 450 sparkish well, a glass of this wine is as comfortable as matrimony to an old woman. Call Sir John, I design one of these days to come, and beat up your quarters in Derbyshire. Sir John faith colonel come and welcome, and stay away and heartily welcome, but you were born within the sound of Bow Bell, and don't care to stir so far from London. Miss pray colonel send me some fritters. Colonel takes them out with his hand. Call here miss they say fingers were made before forks and hands before knives. Lady smart methinks this puddin is too much boil Roman 500 Roman 450, answer, oh madam. They say a puddin is poison, when it's too much boil Roman 500, never out miss, shall I help you to a pigeon here's a pigeon, so finely roasted it cries come eat me. Miss no sir I thank you. Never out why then you may choose. Miss I have chosen already. Never out well, you may be worse offered before you are twice merry Roman 500. The colonel fills a large plate of soup. Roman 450 smart, why colonel you don't mean to eat all that soup. Call oh my lord this is my sick dish, when I am well ill have a bigger. Miss to call sup Simon very good broth. Never out this seems to be a good pullet. Miss I warrant mister, never out knows what's good for himself. Roman 450 sparkish Tom, I shan't take your word for it help me to a wing. Never out tries to cut off a wing. Never out egad I can't hit the joint. Roman 450 sparkish, why then think of a cuckold. Never out oh now I have nicked it. Gives it Roman 450 sparkish. Roman 450 sparkish, why a man may eat this though his wife lay a-dying. Call pray friend, give me a glass of small beer if it be good. Roman 450 smart, why colonel they say, there is no such thing as good small beer, good brown bread, or a good old woman. Lady smart to Lady answer madam, I beg your ladyship's pardon, I did not see you when I was cutting that bit. Lady answer oh madam after you is good manners. Lady smart lord here's a hair in the sauce. Roman 450 sparkish, then set the hounds after it. Never out pray colonel, help me however to some of that same sauce. Call come I think you are more sauce than pig. Roman 450, smart Sir John cheer up my service to you well, what do you think of the world to come? Sir John truly my lord I think of it as little as I can. Lady smart putting a sewer on a plate here take this sewer, and carry it down to the cook, to dress it for her own dinner. Never out I beg your ladyship's pardon, but this small beer is dead. Lady smart, why then let it be Barry Roman 500 call, this is admirable black puddin miss, shall I carve you some I can just carve puddin, and that's all I am the worst carver in the world I should never make a good chaplain. Miss no thanky colonel for they say those that eat black puddin will dream of the devil. Roman 450, smart oh here, comes the venison pasty here take the soup away. Roman 450 smart, he cuts it up, and tastes the venison buds this venison is musty. Never out eats a piece, and it burns his mouth. Roman 450 smart, what's the matter Tom you have tears in your eyes, I think what dost cry for man. Never out my lord I was just thinking of my poor grandmother, she died just this very day 7 years. Miss takes a bit and burns her mouth. Never out and pray miss why do you cry too? Miss because you were not hanged the day your grandmother died. Roman 450 smart id, have given £40 miss to have said that. Call egad, I think the more I eat the hungrier I am. Roman 450 sparkish, why colonel they say one shoulder of mutton, drives down another. Never out egad if I were to fast for my life, I would take a good breakfast in the morning, a good dinner at noon, and a good supper at night. Roman 450, sparkish my lord this venison, is plaguily peppered, your cook has a heavy hand. Roman 450 smart, my lord I hope you are pepperproof, come here's a health to the founders. Lady smart I, and to the confounders too. Roman 450 smart lady answer all, does not your ladyship love venison? Lady answer no my lord, I can't endure it in my sight, therefore, please to send me a good piece of meat, and crust. Roman 450 sparkish drinks, to never out come Tom not always to my friends, but once to you. Never out drinks to Lady Smart come, madam here's a health to our friends, and hang the rest of our kin. Lady Smart to Lady Answa madam, will your ladyship have any of this hair? Lady Answa, no madam they say tea's melancholy meat. Lady Smart then, madam shall I send you the brains, I beg your ladyship's pardon for they say tea's not good manners to offer brains. Lady Answa, no madam for perhaps it will make me harebrain. Roman 500, never out miss I must tell you one thing. Miss with a glass in her hand, hold your tongue mister, never out don't speak in my tip. Caldwell he was an ingenious man that first found out eating and drinking. Roman 450 sparkish of all victuals drink, digests the quickest, give me a glass of wine. Never out my lord your wine is too strong. Roman 450, smart I Tom as much as you are too good. Miss this almond pudding was pure good, but it is grown quite cold. Never out so much the better miss cold pudding will settle your love. Miss pray mister, never out are you going to take a voyage? Never out why do you ask miss? Miss because you have laid in so much beef. Sir John you two have eat up the whole pudding betwixt you. Miss Sir John here's a little bit left will you please to have it? Sir John no thankye, I don't love to make a fool of my mouth. Calling to the butler John, is your small beer good? Butler and please your honour my lord and lady like it, I think it is good. Call why then John Dicey, if you are sure your small beer is good Dymark, then give me a glass of wine. Oh laugh. Colonel tasting the wine. Roman 450, smart Sir John, how does your neighbour Gatherall of the Peak I hear, he has lately made a purchase. Sir John O. Dick Gatherall knows how to butter his bread, as well as any man in Derbyshire. Roman 450 smart, why he used to go very fine when he was here in town. Sir John I, and it became him as a saddle becomes a sow. I know his lady, and I think she is a very good woman. Sir John faith, she has more goodness in her little finger than he has in his whole body. Roman 450 smart well colonel, how do you like that wine? This wine should be eaten, it is too good to be drunk. Roman 450 smart I am very glad you like it, and pray don't spare it. No my lord I'll never starve in a cook's shop. Roman 450 smart, and pray Sir John, what do you say to my wine? Sir John I'll take another glass first second thoughts are best. Roman 450 sparkish pray, Lady Smart you sit near that ham will you please to send me a bit? Lady Smart with all my heart, she sends him a piece pray my lord how do you like it? Roman 450 sparkish, I think it is a limb of Lot's wife, he eats it with mustard egad my lord your mustard, is very uncivil. Roman 450 smart, why uncivil my lord? Roman 450 sparkish, because it takes me by the nose egad. Lady Smart mister, never out I find you are a very good carver. Oh madam, that is no wonder for you must know Tom Neverout carves a Sundays. Neverout overturns the salt cellar. Lady Smart mister, Neverout you have overturned the salt, and that's a sign of anger I am afraid miss, and you will fall out. Lady Answa no throw a little of it into the fire, and all will be well. Neverout oh madam the falling out of lovers you know. Miss Lovers very fine fall out with him I wonder when we were in. Sir John for my part, I believe the young gentlewoman is his sweetheart, there's so much fooling and fiddling, betwixt them I am sure they say in our country that is the beginning of love. Miss I own I love Mr. Neverout, as the devil loves holy water, I love him like pie id, rather the devil had him, than Roman 1 Neverout miss I'll tell you one thing. Miss come here's tea to stop your mouth. Never out id, rather you would stop it with a kiss. Miss A kiss Mary, come up my dirty cousin. Are you no sicker lord, I wonder what fool it was that first invented kissing. Never out well I am very dry. Miss then you the better to burn, and the worse to fry. Lady Answa God, bless you Colonel you have a good stroke with you. Call oh madam formerly, I could eat all but now I leave nothing I eat but one meal a day. Miss what I suppose, Colonel that's from morning till night. Never out faith miss, and well was his wont. Roman 450, smart pray, Lady Answerall taste this bit of venison. Lady Answa, I hope your lordship will set me a good example. Roman 450 smart, here's a glass of cider filled miss you must drink it. Miss indeed my lord I can't. Never out come Miss Better Belly, burst than good liquor be lost. Miss Pish well in life, there was never anything so teasing, I had rather shed it, in my shoes, I wish it were in your guts for my share. Roman 450 smart mister, never out you han't tasted my cider yet. Never out no my lord, I have been just eating soup, and they say, if one drinks in one's porridge one will cough in one's grave. Roman 450 smart come take Miss Glass, she wished it was in your guts let her have her wish for once ladies can't abide to have their inclinations, cross Roman 500 lady smart to Sir John. I think Sir John you have not tasted the venison yet. Sir John, I seldom eat it madam however please to send me a little of the crust. Roman 450 sparkish, why Sir John you had as good eat the devil, as the broth he's boiled in. Call well this eating, and drinking takes away a body's stomach, as Lady Answerall says. Never out I have dined, as well as my Lord Mayor. Miss I thought I could have eaten this wing of a chicken, but my eyes bigger than my belly. Roman 450 smart, indeed Lady Answerall, you have eaten nothing. Lady Answa pray my lord see all the bones on my plate, they say a carpenter's known by his chips. Never out miss will you reach me that glass of jelly. Miss giving it to him you see tease, but ask and have. Never out miss, I would have a bigger glass. Miss what you don't know your own mind, you are neither well full, nor fasting, I think that is enough. Never out I one of the enoughs I am sure it is little enough. Miss yes, but you know sweet things are bad for the teeth. Never out to Lady Answa madam, I don't like that part of the veal you sent me. Lady Answa well mister, never out I find you are a true Englishman, you never know when you are well. Call well, I have made my whole dinner of beef. Lady Answa, why Colonel a bellyful if it be, but of wheat straw. Call well after all kitchen physic, is the best physic. Roman 450 smart, and the best doctors in the world, are Dr. Dite Dr. Quiet, and Dr. Merriman. Roman 450 sparkish, what do you think of a little house well filled? Sir John and a little land well tilled. Call I and a little wife well willed. Never out my lady smart pray, help me to some of the breast of that goose. Roman 450, smart Tom, I have heard that goose upon goose is false heraldry. Miss what will you never have done stuffing? Roman 450, smart this goose is quite raw well God sends meat, but the devil sends cooks. Never out miss can you tell which is the white goose, or the grey goose the gander? Miss they say a fool will ask more questions, than the wisest body can answer. Call indeed Miss Tom Neverout has posed you. Miss why Colonel every dog has his day, but I believe I shall never see a goose again, without thinking on Mr. Neverout. Roman 450 smart well said Miss Faith girl, thou hast brought thyself off cleverly Tom, what say you to that? Call Faith Tom is nonplussed, he looks plaguily down in the mouth. Miss why my lord you see he is the provokingest creature in life, I believe, there is not such another in the varsal world. Lady Answa, oh miss the world's a wide place. Never out well, Miss Ill, give you leave to call me anything if you don't call me Spade. Roman 450 smart well, but after all Tom can you tell me what's Latin for a goose? Never out oh my lord I know that why brandy is Latin for a goose and tace, is Latin for a candle. Miss is that manners to show your learning before ladies methinks, you are grown very brisk of a sudden, I think the man's glad he's alive. Sir John the devil take your wit if this be wit for it spoils company, pray Mr. Butler, bring me a dram after my goose tea's very good for the wholesomes. Roman 450 smart come bring me the loaf, I sometimes love to cut my own bread. Miss I suppose my lord you lay longest abed today. Roman 450 smart miss, if I had said so I should have told a fib, I warrant you lay abed till the cows came home, but miss shall I cut you a little crust now my hand is in. Miss if you please my lord, a bit of under crust. Never out whispering miss I find you love to lie under. Miss aloud pushing him from her, what does the man mean sir, I don't understand you at all. Never out come all quarrels laid aside here, Miss May, you live 1,000 years. He drinks to her. Miss pray sir don't stint me. Roman 450 Smart Sir John, will you taste my October, I think it is very good, but I believe not equal to yours in Derbyshire. Sir John my lord I beg your pardon, but they say the devil made askers. Roman 450, Smart to the butler here, bring up the great tankard full of October for Sir John. Call drinking to miss your health, may you live all the days of your life. Lady Answa well, Miss Yowell certainly, be soon married, here's 2 bachelors drinking to you at once. Lady Smart indeed miss, I believe you were wrapped in your mother's smock, you are so well beloved Roman 500 miss, where's my knife sure I han't eaten it oh here it is. Sir John no miss, but your maidenhead hangs in your light. Miss pray Sir John, is that a Derbyshire compliment, here Mr. Neverout, will you take this piece of rabbit, that you bid me carve for you? Neverout I don't know. Miss why take it, or let it alone? Neverout I. Miss what will you? Neverout why ill take it, or let it alone? Miss you are a provoking creature. Sir John talking with a glass of wine in his hand, I remember a farmer in our country. Roman 450 Smart, interrupting him pray Sir John, did you ever hear of Parson Palmer? Sir John no my lord what of him? Roman 450 Smart, why he used to preach over his liquor. Sir John, I beg your pardon here's your lordship's health, I'd drink it up, if it were a mile to the bottom. Lady Smart Mr. Neverout have you been at the new play? Neverout, yes madam I went the first night. Lady Smart well, and how did it take? Neverout why madam the poet is damn Roman 500. Sir John God forgive you that's very uncharitable, you ought not to judge so rashly of any Christian. Neverout whispers Lady Smart, was ever such a dunce, how well he knows the town see how he stares like a stuck pig well. But Sir John, are you acquainted with any of our fine ladies, yet any of our famous toasts? Sir John no damn your fireships, I have a wife of my own. Lady Smart pray my lady answer all, how do you like these preserved oranges? Lady Answa, indeed madam the only fault I find, is that they are too good. Lady Smart oh madam, I have heard him say that too good is stark not. Miss drinking part of a glass of wine. Neverout pray let me drink your snuff. Miss no indeed you shan't drink after me for y'all know my thoughts. Neverout, I know them already you are thinking of a good husband, besides, I can tell your meaning by your mumping. Lady Smart pray my lord, did not you order the butler, to bring up a tankard of our October to Sir John, I believe they stay to brew it. The butler brings up the tankard to Sir John. Sir John want your ladyship please to drink first. Lady Smart no Sir John tease, in a very good hand I'll pledge you. Call to Roman 450 Smart, my lord I love October as well as Sir John, and I hope you want make fish of one and flesh of another. Roman 450 Smart Colonel, you're a heartily welcome come Sir John take it by word of mouth, and then give it the Colonel. Sir John drinks. Roman 450 Smart well Sir John, how do you like it? Sir John not as well as my own in Derbyshire teas, plaguey small. Lady Smart, I never taste malt liquor, but they say tea's well hopped. Sir John hopped, why if it had hopped a little further, it would have hopped into the river oh my lord my ale, is meat drink, and cloth it will make a cat speak, and a wise man dumb. Lady Smart I was told ours was very strong. Sir John I madam strong of the water, I believe the brewer forgot the malt, or the river was too near him faith, it is mere whip-belly vengeance, he that drinks most has the worst share. Call I believe Sir John ale, is as plenty as water at your house. Sir John why faith at Christmas, we have many comers and goers, and they must not be sent away without a cup of Christmas ale for fear they should behind the door. Lady Smart I hear Sir John has the nicest garden in England, they say tea's kept so clean that you can't find a place where to spit. Sir John oh madam you are pleased to say so. Lady Smart but Sir John your ale is terrible strong and heady in Derbyshire, and will soon make one drunk, and sick what do you then? Sir John why indeed it is apt to fox one. But our way is to take a hair of the same dog, next morning I take a new-laid egg for breakfast and faith, One should drink as much after an egg as after an ox. Roman 450 Smart Tom Neverout, will you taste a glass of the October? Neverout no faith my lord I like your wine, and I want put a churl upon a gentleman, your honour's claret is good enough for me. Lady Smart, what is this pigeon left for manners colonel, shall I send you the legs and rump? Call madam, I could not eat a bit more if the house was full. Roman 450 Smart, carving a partridge, well, one may ride to Rumford upon this knife, it is so blunt. Lady Answa my lord I beg your pardon, but they say an ill workman never had good tools. Roman 450 Smart, will your lordship have a wing of it? Roman 450 Sparkish no my lord, I love the wing of an ox a great deal better. Roman 450 Smart I am always cold after eating. Call my lord they say that's a sign of long life. Roman 450 Smart I believe I shall live till all my friends are weary of me. Call pray does anybody here hate cheese, I would be glad of a bit. Roman 450 Smart an odd kind of fellow dined with me t'other day, and when the cheese came upon the table, he pretended to faint, so somebody said pray take away, the cheese no said I pray take away the fool said I well. Hear a large and loud laugh. Call faith my lord you serve the coxcomb right enough, and therefore I wish we had a bit of your lordship's Oxfordshire cheese. Roman 450 Smart, come hang saving bring us a halfporth of cheese. Lady Answa they say cheese digests everything but itself. A footman brings a great whole cheese. Roman 450 Sparkish I, this would look handsome, if any body should come in. Sir John well I am, Whaley Rost as they sayn in Lancashire. Lady Smart oh Sir John, I wowed, I had something to brost you withal. Roman 450 Smart, come they say tease Marion Hall when beards wag all. Lady Smart miss, shall I help you to some cheese, or will you carve for yourself? Neverout ill hold £50 miss want cut the cheese. Miss pray why so Mr. Neverout? Neverout oh there is a reason, and you know it well enough. Miss I can't for my life, understand what the gentleman means. Roman 450, Smart pray Tom change, the discourse in troth you are too bad. Call whispers Neverout smoke Miss Faith, you have made her fret like gum taffety. Lady Smart well, but miss hold your tongue Mr. Neverout shall I cut you a piece of cheese? Miss no really madam, I have dined this half hour. Lady Smart, what quick at meat quick at work they say. Sir John nods. Roman 450 Smart, what are you sleepy Sir John, do you sleep after dinner? Sir John yes faith, I sometimes take a nap after my pipe, for when the belly is full the bones will be at rest. Roman 450 Smart come colonel, help yourself, and your friends will love you the better, to Lady Answa madam your ladyship eats nothing. Lady Answa lord madam, I have fed like a farmer, I shall grow as fat as a porpoise, I swear my jaws are weary of chewing. Call I have a mind to eat a piece of that sturgeon, but fear it will make me sick. Neverout a rare soldier indeed let it alone, and I warrant it won't hurt you. Call well, but it would vex a dog to see a puddin creep. Sir John rises. Roman 450, Smart Sir John, what are you doing? Sir John swalks, I must be going by'r lady, I have earnest business. I must do, as the beggars do go away when I have got enough. Roman 450 Smart well, but stay till this bottle's out you know, the man was hanged that left his liquor behind him, and besides a cup in the pate is a mile in the gate, and a spur in the head is worth 2 in the heel. Sir John come then one brimmer to all your healths, the footman gives him a glass half full pray friend, what was the rest of this glass made for an inch at the top friend, is worth 2 at the bottom he gets a brimmer, and drinks it off well there's no deceit in a brimmer, and there's no false Latin in this your wine is excellent good, so I thank you for the next for I am sure of this madam, has your ladyship any commands in Derbyshire? I must go 15 miles tonight. Lady Smart none Sir John, but to take care of yourself, and my most humble service to your lady unknown. Sir John well madam I can but love and thank you. Lady Smart here, bring water to wash though really, you have all eaten so little that you have no need to wash your mouths. Roman 450 Smart, but prithee Sir John stay a while longer. Sir John no my lord I am, to smoke a pipe with a friend before I leave the town. Call why Sir John had not you better set out tomorrow? Sir John Colonel you forget tomorrow is Sun. Call now, I always love to begin a journey on Sundays, because I shall have the prayers of the church, to preserve all that travel by land or by water. Sir John, well, Colonel, thou art a mad fellow to make a priest of. Never out, fie, Sir John, do you take tobacco? How can you make a chimney of your mouth? Sir John, to never out what you don't smoke, I warrant you. But you smock, ladies, I beg your pardon, Colonel, do you never smoke? Call, no, Sir John, but I take a pipe sometimes. Sir John, I' faith, one of your finical London blades dined with me last year in Derbyshire, so after dinner I took a pipe, so my gentleman turned away his head. So said I, what, sir, do you never smoke? So he answered, as you do, Colonel, no. But I sometimes take a pipe. So he took a pipe in his hand, and fiddled with it, till he broke it. So said I, pray, sir, can you make a pipe? So he said, no. So said I, why then, sir, if you can't make a pipe, you should not break a pipe. So we all laugh. Roman 500 Roman 450 smart, well. But Sir John, they say that the corruption of pipes is the generation of stoppers. Sir John, Colonel, I hear you go sometimes to Derbyshire, I wish you would come, and foul a plate with me. Call, I hope y'all give me a soldier's bottle. Sir John, come and try, mister. Never out, you are a town wit, can you tell me what kind of herb is tobacco? Never out, why, an Indian herb, Sir John. Sir John, noties a pot herb, and so here's tie, in a pot of my lord's October. Lady smart, I hear, Sir John, since you are married you have forsworn the town. Sir John, no, madam, I never forswore anything but building of churches. Lady smart, well, but Sir John, when may we hope to see you again in London? Sir John, why, madam, not till the ducks have eat up the dirt, as the children say. Never out, come, Sir John, I foresee it will rain terribly. Lady smart, come, Sir John, do nothing rashly, let us drink first. Roman 450 Sparkish, I know Sir John will go, though he was sure it would rain cats and dogs. But pray stay, Sir John, y'all be time enough to go to bed by candlelight. Roman 450 smart, why, Sir John, if you must needs go while you stay, make good use of your time. Here's my service to you, a health to our friends in Derbyshire. Come, sit down, let us put off the evil hour as long as we can. Sir John, faith, I could not drink a drop more if the house was full. Call, why, Sir John, you used to love a glass of good wine in former times. Sir John, why, so I do still, Colonel, but a man may love his house very well without riding on the ridge. Besides, I must be with my wife on Tuesday, or there will be the devil, and all to pay. Call, well, if you go today, I wish you may be wet to the skin. Sir John, I, but they say the prayers of the wicked won't prevail. Sir John takes leave and goes away. Roman 450 smart, well, miss, how do you like Sir John? Miss, why, I think he's a little upon the silly, or so, I believe he has not all the wit in the world, but I don't pretend to be a judge. Never out, faith, I believe he was bred at Hog's Norton, where the pigs play upon the organs. Roman 450 Sparkish, why, Tom, I thought you and he were hand and glove. Never out, faith, he shall have a clean threshold for me, I never darkened his door in my life, neither in town nor country, but he's a queer old duke by my conscience, and yet after all I take him to be more knave than fool. Lady smart, welcome, a man's a man, if he has but a nose on his head. Call, I was once with him, and some other company over a bottle, and egad, he fell asleep, and snored so hard that we thought he was driving his hogs to market. Never out, why, what, you can have no more of a cat than her skin, you can't make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. Roman 450 Sparkish, well, since he's gone the devil go with him and sixpence, and there's money and company too. Never out, faith, he's a true country put. Pray, miss, let me ask you a question. Miss, well, but don't ask questions with a dirty face, I warrant what you have to say will keep cold. Call, come, my lord, against you are disposed, here's to all that love and honor you. Roman 450 Sparkish, I, that was always Dick Nimble's health, I am sure you know he's dead. Call, dead, well, my lord, you love to be a messenger of ill news, I am heartily sorry, but my lord, we must all die. Never out, I knew him very well, but pray how came he to die? Miss, there's a question, you talk like a poticary. Why, because he could live no longer. Never out, well, rest his soul, we must live by the living, and not by the dead. Roman 450 Sparkish, you know his house was burnt down to the ground. Call, yes, it was in the news. Why, fire and water are good servants, but they are very bad masters. Roman 450 smart, here, take away, and set down a bottle of Burgundy, ladies, y'all stay, and drink a glass of wine before you go to your tea. All taken away, and the wine set down. Roman 100 miss, gives never out a smart pinch. Never out, lord, miss, what die mean die, think I have no feeling. Miss, I am forked to pinch, for the times are hard. Never out, giving miss a pinch, take that, miss, what's sauce for a goose, is for a gander. Miss screaming, well, mister, never out, if I live that shall neither go to heaven nor hell with you. Never out takes Miss hand come, miss let us lay all quarrels aside, and be friends. Miss don't be so teasing you plague a body so can't, you keep your filthy hands to yourself. Never out pray miss, where did you get that picktooth case? Miss I came honestly by it. Never out I am sure it was mine for I lost just such a one nay, I don't tell you a lie. Miss no, if you lie it is much. Never out well I am sure 'tis mine. Miss what you think everything is yours, but a little the king has. Never out colonel you have seen my fine picktooth case, don't you think this is the very same? Call indeed miss it is very like it. Miss I what he says y'all swear. Never out well but ill prove it to be mine. Miss I do if you can. Never out why what's yours is mine, and what's mine is my own. Miss well run on, till you're a weary nobody holds you. Never out gapes. Call what Mr. Never out, do you gape for preferment? Never out faith, I may gape long enough before it falls into my mouth. Lady smart Mr. Never out my lord, and I intend to beat up your quarters, one of these days I hear you live high. Never out yes faith madam live high and lodge in a garret. Call but miss I forgot to tell you, that Mr. Never out got the devilishest fall in the park today. Miss I hope he did not hurt the ground, but how was it Mr. Never out I wish I had been there to laugh. Never out why madam it was a place where a cuckold has been buried, and one of his horns sticking out, I happened to stumble against it, that was all. Lady smart ladies let us leave the gentlemen to themselves, I think it is time to go to our tea. Lady Answa, miss my lords, and gentlemen your most humble servant. Roman 450, smart well ladies, well wait on you an hour hence. The gentleman alone. Roman 450, smart come John, bring us a fresh bottle. Call I my lord and pray, let him carry off the dead men, as we say in the army. Meaning the empty bottles. Roman 450 sparkish mister, never out pray, is not that bottle. Never out yes my lord full of emptiness. Roman 450 smart, and die here John bring clean glasses. Call ill, keep mine for I think the wine is the best liquor to wash glasses in. Polite conversation, etc. Dialogue Roman 3, the ladies at their tea. Lady smart well ladies, now let us have a cup of discourse to ourselves. Lady Answa, what do you think of your friend Sir John Spendall? Lady smart, why mad empty's happy for him, that his father was born before him. Miss they say, he makes a very ill husband to my lady. Lady Answa, but he must be allowed to be the fondest father in the world. Lady smart I madam, that's true for they say the devil is kind to his own. Miss I am told my lady manages him to admiration. Lady smart that I believe for she's as cunning as a dead pig, but not half so honest. Lady Answa they say, she's quite a stranger to all his gallantries. Lady smart not at all, but you know there's none so blind as they that want see. Miss oh madam I am told, she watches him as a cat would watch a mouse. Lady Answa well if she bent foully belied, she pays him in his own coin. Lady smart madam I fancy, I know your thoughts as well as if I were within you. Lady Answa madam, I was t'other day in company with Mrs. Clatter. I find she gives herself airs of being acquainted with your ladyship. Miss oh the hideous creature, did you observe her nails? They were long enough to scratch her granum out of her grave. Lady smart well she and Tom Gosling were banging compliments backwards and forwards, it looked like two asses scrubbing one another. Miss I claw me and ill claw thou, but pray madam who were the company? Lady smart why there was all the world and his wife there, was Mrs. Clatter Lady singular, the Countess of Tockham, I should have named her first Tom Gosling, and some others whom I have forgot. Lady Answa, I think the Countess is very sickly. Lady smart yes, madam shall never scratch a grey head I promise her. Miss and pray, what was your conversation? Lady smart, why Mrs. Clatter had all the talk to herself, and was perpetually complaining of her misfortunes. Lady Answa, she brought her husband £10,000, she has a town house and country house, would the woman have her hung with points? Lady smart she would fain be at the top of the house, before the stairs are built. Miss well comparisons are odious, but she's as like her husband as if she were spit out of his mouth, as like as one egg, is to another pray how was she dressed? Lady smart why she was as fine as fivepence, but truly I thought there was more cost than worship. Lady Answa, I don't know her husband pray what is he? Lady Smart, why he's a concealer of the law you must know, he came to us, as drunk as David's sow. Miss, what kind of creature is he? Lady Smart, you must know the man and his wife are coupled like rabbits, a fat and a lean, he's as fat as a porpoise. And she's one of Pharaoh's lean kine. The ladies and Tom Gosling were proposing a party at quadrille. But he refused to make one, damn your cards, said he, they are the devil's books. Lady Answa, a dull unmannerly brute, well God, sent him more wit and me more money. Miss Lord, madam, I would not keep such company for the world. Lady Smart, oh Miss Tease, nothing, when you are used to it, besides you know for want of company welcome trumpery. Miss, did your ladyship play? Lady Smart, yes, and won, so I came off with fiddler's fare, meat, drink, and money. Lady Answa, I what says pluck? Miss, well my elbow itches, I shall change bedfellows. Lady Smart, and my right hand itches, I shall receive money. Lady Answa, and my right eye itches, I shall cry. Lady Smart, miss, I hear your friend Mistress Giddy has discarded Dick Shuttle, pray, has she got another lover? Miss, I hear of none. Lady Smart, why the fellow's rich, and I think she was a fool to throw out her dirty water before she got clean. Lady Answa, miss, that's a very handsome gown of yours, and finely made, very genteel. Miss, I am glad your ladyship likes it. Lady Answa, your lover will be in raptures, it becomes you admirably. Miss, I assure you I won't take it as I have done if this won't fetch him, the devil fetch him, say Roman 1. Lady Smart, to Lady Answa, pray madam, when did you see Sir Peter Muckworm? Lady Answa, not this fortnight I hear, he's laid up with the gout. Lady Smart, what does he do for it? Lady Answa, why I hear he's weary of doctoring it, and now makes use of nothing but patience and flannel. Miss, pray how does he and my lady agree? Lady Answa, you know he loves her, as the devil loves holy water. Miss, they say, she plays deep with sharpers that cheat her of her money. Lady Answa, upon my word, they must rise early that would cheat her of her money, sharps the word with her diamonds, cut diamonds. Miss, well, but I was assured from a good hand, that she lost at one sitting to the tune of 100 guineas, make money of that. Lady Smart, well, but do you hear that Mrs. Plump is brought to bed at last? Miss, and pray, what has God sent her? Lady Smart, why guess if you can. Miss, a boy I suppose. Lady Smart, no, you are out, guess again. Miss, a girl then. Lady Smart, you have hit it, I believe you are a witch. Miss, oh madam, the gentlemen say all fine ladies are witches, but I pretend to no such thing. Lady Answa, well, she had good luck to draw Tom Plump into wedlock, she risks with her upwards. Miss, fie madam, what do you mean? Lady Smart, oh Miss, tease nothing what we say among ourselves. Miss, I madam, but they say hedges have eyes and walls have ears. Lady Answa, well miss, I can't help it, you know I am old, tell truth, I love to call a spade a spade. Lady Smart mistakes the tea-tongs for the spoon, what I think my wits are a wool-gathering today. Miss, why madam, there was but a right and a wrong. Lady Smart, miss, I hear that you and Lady Coupler are as great as cup and can. Lady Answa, I miss as great as the devil and the Earl of Kent. Lady Smart, nay, I am told you meet together with as much love as there is between the old cow and the haystack. Miss, I own I love her very well, but there's difference betwixt staring and stark mad. Lady Smart, they say she begins to grow fat. Miss, fat, I fat as a hen in the forehead. Lady Smart, indeed Lady Answerall, pray, forgive me, I think your ladyship looks thinner than when I saw you last. Miss, indeed madam, I think not, but your ladyship is one of Job's comforters. Lady Answa, well, no matter how I look I am bought and sold, but really miss, you are so very obliging, that I wish I were a handsome young lord for your sake. Miss, oh madam, your love's a million. Lady Smart, to Lady Answa, madam, will your ladyship let me wait on you to the play tomorrow? Lady Answa, madam, it becomes me to wait on your ladyship. Miss, what then, I am turned out for a wrangler. The gentlemen come in to the ladies to drink tea. Miss, Mr. Never out, we wanted you sadly, you are always out of the way, when you should be hang Roman 500. Never out, you wanted me, pray miss, how do you look when you lie? Miss, better than you when you cry, manners indeed, I find you mend like sour ale in summer. Never out, I beg your pardon miss, I only meant when you lie alone. Miss, that's well turned, one turn more would have turned you downstairs. Never out, come miss, be kind for once, and order me a dish of coffee. Miss, pray go yourself, let us wear out the oldest first, besides, I can't go for I have a bone in my leg. Call they say a woman need, but look on her apron string to find an excuse. Never out, why miss you are grown so peevish a dog would not live with you. Miss Mr. Never out, I beg your diversion, no offense I hope, but truly in a little time, you intend to make the Colonel as bad as yourself, and that's as bad can. Never out, my lord, don't you think Miss improves wonderfully of late? Why, miss, if I spoil the Colonel I hope you will use him, as you do me, for you know love me love my dog. Call, how's that, Tom, say that again, why if I am a dog shake hands brother. Hear a great loud long laugh. Roman 450 smart, but pray gentlemen why always so severe upon poor miss on my conscience Colonel, and Tom never out, one of you two are both knaves. Call, my lady answer all, I intend to do myself the honor of dining with your ladyship tomorrow. Lady answer, I Colonel, do if you can. Miss, I am sure y'all be glad to be welcome. Call, miss, I thank you, and to reward you ill come and drink tea with you in the morning. Miss Colonel, there's 2 words to that bargain. Call to Lady Smart, your ladyship has a very fine watch, well may you wear it. Lady Smart, it is none of mine Colonel. Call, pray whose is it then? Lady Smart, why tease my lords, for they say, a married woman has nothing of her own but her wedding ring and her hair lace, but if women had been the lawmakers, it would have been better. Call, this watch seems to be quite new. Lady Smart, no sir, it has been 20 years in my lord's family, but Quare put a new case and dial plate to it. Never out, why that's for all the world like the man who swore he kept the same knife 40 years only, he sometimes changed the haft, and sometimes the blade. Roman 450 smart, well Tom, to give the devil his due thou art, a right woman's man. Call, odso, I have broke the hinge of my snuff-box, I am undone beside the loss. Miss Alackaday Colonel, I vow I had rather have found 40 shillings. Never out, why Colonel, all that I can say to comfort you, is that you must mend it with a new one. Miss laughs. Call, what miss, you can't laugh, but you must show your teeth. Miss, I am sure you show your teeth when you can't bite well, thus it must be if we sell a. Never out, miss, you smell very sweet, I hope you don't carry perfumes. Miss, perfumes no sir, id, have you to know, it is nothing but the grain of my skin. Call, Tom, you have a good nose to make a poor man sow. Roman 450, sparkish, so ladies and gentlemen, methinks you are very witty upon one another, come box it about 'twill come to my father at last. Call, why my lord, you see miss has no mercy, I wish she were married, but I doubt the grey mare would prove the better horse. Miss, well God forgive you for that wish. Roman 450 sparkish, never fear him miss. Miss, what my lord, do you think I was born in a wood to be afraid of an owl? Roman 450 smart, what have you to say to that Colonel? Never out, oh my lord, my friend, the Colonel scorns to set his wit against a child. Miss, scornful dogs will eat dirty puddings. Call, well miss, they say a woman's tongue is the last thing about her that dies, therefore let's kiss and friends. Miss, hands off, that's meat for your master. Roman 450 sparkish, faith Colonel, you are for ale and cakes, but after all miss, you are too severe, you would not meddle with your match. Miss, all they can say goes in at one ear and out at t'other for me, I can assure you, only I wish they would be quiet, and let me drink my tea. Never out, what I warrant you think all is lost, that goes beside your own mouth. Miss, pray mister, never out, hold your tongue for once if it be possible, one would think you were a woman in man's clothes by your prating. Never out, no miss, it is not handsome to see one hold one's tongue, besides, I should slobber my fingers. Call, miss, did you never hear that 3 women and a goose are enough to make a market? Miss, I am sure if Mr. Neverout or you were among them, it would make a fair. Footman comes in. Lady Smart here, take away the tea table and bring up candles. Lady Answa, oh madam, no candles, yet I beseech you don't let us burn daylight. Neverout, I dare swear miss for her part, will never burn daylight if she can help it. Miss Lord, Mr. Neverout, one can't hear one's own ears for you. Lady Smart, indeed madam, it is blind man's holiday, we shall soon be all of a color. Never out, why then miss, we may kiss where we like best. Miss Fogg, these men talk of nothing but kissing. She spits. Never out, what miss does it make your mouth water? Lady Smart, it is as good be in the dark, as without light, therefore pray bring in candles, they say women and linen, show best by candlelight, come, gentlemen, are you for a party at quadrille? Call, ill make one with you 3 ladies. Lady Answa, ill sit down and be a Standerby. Lady Smart to Lady Answa, madam, does your ladyship never play? Call yes, I suppose her ladyship plays sometimes for an egg at Easter. Never out I and a kiss at Christmas. Lady Answa come mister, never out hold your tongue, and mind your knitting. Never out with all my heart kiss my wife and welcome. The Colonel mister, never out lady smart, and miss go to quadrille and sit till 3 in the morning. They rise from cards. Lady smart well, Miss Yowl have a sad husband you have such good luck at cards. Never out indeed, miss you dealt me sad cards, if you deal so ill by your friends, what will you do with your enemies? Lady Answa, I'm sure 'tis time for honest folks to be abed. Miss indeed my eyes draw straw. She's almost asleep. Never out why miss, if you fall asleep somebody may get a pair of gloves. Call I am going to the land of Nod. Never out faith I am for Bedfordshire. Lady smart I am sure I shall sleep without rocking. Never out miss, I hope y'all dream of your sweetheart. Miss oh no doubt of it, I believe I shan't be able to sleep for dreaming of him. Call to Miss Madam, shall I have the honor to escort you? Miss no Colonel, I thank you my mamma has sent her chair, and footman well my lady smart ill give you revenge, whenever you please. Footman comes in. Footman madam, the chairs are waiting. They all take their chairs and go off. Finis.